Welcome to episode number 99 of Killer POV. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob G. from Icons of Fright. With me, to the left, wearing a great T-shirt. Who got you that T-shirt, Elric?
Kevin Spencer designed
right.
this and gave us all a copy.
Yes.
It is lovely.
It's all the Movie Maniacs.
I thought we'd all be wearing it today, but, you know.
Well, we didn't
I'm wearing
coordinate.
mine in Texas.
Okay.
I'm sorry we didn't coordinate our outfits today, honey.
Yes.
Keep the fashion coming, guys. Cavity Colors just said he's sending us a gift card. This is special for us.
Yes, and the beer, thanks to Adam Lima, one of our friends.
Wait, Lima?
Lima, right?
I've totally been saying his name
Adam
wrong
Lima
for
all
like
these
4 years. Yeah, Adam Lima.
Lima. Maybe it is Lima. Maybe I'm saying
He
it
gave us
wrong.
a whole box of beer for today.
This
So that's
Regardless,
episode
Adam kicks ass.
is dedicated to you, Adam. Thank you.
99.
So Elric Kane,
Yeah.
Inside Horror, Jump Cut Cafe,
That's the guy.
several other things. Rebecca McKendry,
I'm eating red
Fangoria.
vines. Yeah.
and Red Vine enthusiast.
I'm total.
I'm
Actually,
a Twizzlers
I'm not.
guy.
I'm a Twizzlers gal because I'm East Coast and they don't really like Twizzlers are where it's at when you're on the East Coast. But
And I'm
all I
insulted that
can-
you're eating Red Vines.
They're all I can really find out
Whatever.
here. BJ sent me some Twizzlers a couple of
Excuses.
months ago. They were amazing.
All righty. And I'm not even going to refer to this person as our special guest. It is our co-host tonight.
Yeah.
You wanted him back. He's wanted to come back.
I've wanted to come back.
Welcome.
Now that's a flashback.
Welcome to Ryan Turek,
Hello.
formerly of the Bloodcast and Shakti Drop, now
Director of Development at Blumhouse Productions.
total high roller. That's why I'm in a shirt and tie. There's nothing to do
pretty
with
cool.
I
Shakti.
appreciate that.
We're trying to impress you, Ryan.
Yes.
We cleaned up our act
Yeah,
for you
you
guys.
guys look cleaned up.
Me and
Yeah.
Ryan are grown-ups in the room, so we're trying to dress like grown-ups.
I
So-
got
When I did
Red
Wonder,
Vines.
WonderCon over the weekend, I almost said, "Hi, I'm the managing editor of ShockToTheDrop.com."
You're so used to it,
nice.
right? And
weird.
I put a word out on Facebook and Twitter that you'd be coming back, and very, very enthusiastic, excited people, including one guy from the Bloodcast who said yes, because the Killer POV ain't cutting it. So thank you, sir.
Wow, who is that?
Oh, really?
That was on the Bloodcast page. So
Well, I just want to say, guys, ever since I jumped to the other side, I stay on top of everything you guys are doing.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
you guys are part of my drive to work every morning
Aw.
into Echo Park, where Blumhouse is located.
You just
Oh,
don't
it is?
get
I
enough.
didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
man.
and
That's cool.
yeah. When you guys have a new episode,
That's a good
so.
spot. Are you close to the actual little park that you can walk around?
No.
It's a nice spot.
You just
No,
can't
it's
get
Echo
enough
Park
of our
adjacent.
sweet, sweet voices. I know.
Yeah.
miss hearing
No, I
us all
feel
the
like I'm
time.
like, oh, my friends. I want to play too. I want to talk about horror movies.
yes.
You
But
could come on once a month. We'd invite you back
Yeah,
once
we
a month.
have
if
you
you want.
on once
seriously,
a
I
month.
do that. I
Little
do that.
updates from the Bloom.
Yeah. I mean, we had some topics and things that we want to discuss, and obviously we're going to kick off the show with what we've seen. Do we want to wait before we find out what it's like on the other side?
Well, let's talk about what we've seen.
Yeah, let's talk about what we've seen, then we'll get to that.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
everybody wants to know, including the three of us.
What's it like,
What it's like on the other side. But all right, so what has everyone seen? I have quite a couple titles, but I'm
I
going
have
to...
three.
Let's start with you.
I got
I'll
two.
kick off. So this one, continuing with where I was at last week. Last week I was like, I'm taking a small break from horror and I'm going to thrillers because I can never stray that far from the genre. So this week I started watching Southland Tales, which I have been wanting to see forever. I know. Everyone's like, why do you want to
Let's
watch
go
it?
fringe.
I
Like,
know.
so fringe.
I know. I'm like, I can't go that far. So, but I saw a trailer for Southland Tales, and I'd never seen it. For some reason, when it came out, I thought it was more of like an urban gangster movie, and so I never saw it. And I saw the trailer, and it looked really cool, sci-fi, fantasy.
The Donnie Darko guy, right?
Yeah. And so I rented that and was like, cool, or got it off Netflix. They sent me the DVD and I was like, I'm going to watch this. And while I'm like watching all the previews, a preview comes up for Liam Neeson's Unknown. And I was suddenly like, I'd rather watch that. So the Southland Tales disc is still sitting on my desk. I'll get there eventually, but I stopped and immediately rented Unknown.
Okay, so
and
you did
watched
not
that.
see Southland Tales?
Not yet.
All right, let me cor-
This is a very circuitous story.
a little misdirect.
Can we get Clark?
Can we get Clark?
Yeah.
That was a super misdirect.
Like-
All right, so Unknown, great.
Unknown. It's a swervy story.
Yes.
So I watched Liam Neeson's Unknown, which I actually thought was really fun.
Right.
He travels to Germany with his wife for this like biology conference, and he gets in a car wreck. And then when he comes out of the coma from the car wreck and goes to find his wife and all of the people that know him at the conference, no one knows him. And no one knows who he is.
Oh, this is the guy that directed Orphan,
It's
right?
Drama Colette Sarah.
Yeah.
It was.
He did Orphan and House of Wax.
Yeah, that's right.
It's fairly
So-
Hitchcockian. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's kind of a fun.
you've seen it
it's,
too?
it's playful. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fun.
okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's not great, but it's fun.
That's it exactly. Yeah, it's not like oh my god, how have I not seen this before? But I have to say, like, it totally was fun for me.
It has January Jones from Mad Men, right? And she just comes off as just like so dull. It's like wallpaper in that movie. It's such a bummer because there's
Still love her though.
Yeah, no, I love her in the show, but just some people just when they go on the big screen, they just don't have that other charisma, And I felt that kind of a cool Hitchcock blonde though.
Yeah, I'd call it Hitchcock because it's not like true horror. Don't expect it's not aliens or werewolves at the end. But
it's like an amnesia action film. Identity. He has a certain set of skills.
That's it. He has a certain set of skills.
He still has a certain set of skills.
Something gets taken.
They're getting more limited every day. No, I heard his real certain skill was something different in Hollywood from what the ladies say. But I've heard Liam's the biggest in Hollywood.
Wow.
I've heard easily the biggest in Hollywood. I've heard he is the man.
Oh, Ryan.
There's a lot of women who've had affairs with him.
This?
I don't want to know why Ryan's confirming.
Yeah, Ryan's like shaking his head up and down.
In my previous job, I had heard.
When you worked at Mr. Skin.
I had heard. I heard certain things from.
No, it's a pretty
ladies.
popular rumor. I don't know where it started. I think
if you're gonna have a rumor spread about you, that's the one you kind of want. Not like he has like a weird superfluous nipple.
But now Michael Fassbender always just whips it out whenever he's around Liam to be like, "Come on, man, I'm in the ballpark, right?" Hey, I've noticed a pattern. Irish.
I will admit, after watching Shame, I kind of I had to like jump out into the bathroom, drop trow, and just go.
Yeah, no, that's pretty crazy. Yeah,
all right, maybe a little.
Yeah.
So
damn it,
then I
Fassbender.
watched Anthony Hopkins' The Right. And I watched this. Okay, see, that was my reaction. I watched this because someone on my Twitter feed was like, hey, have you seen The Right? I really love that movie. If you haven't
Call
checked
that
it
person
out,
out
check
now.
it
Find
again.
out their name.
I need to. I'll look at my Twitter feed and shame them on the show. I will movie shame you. But no, so I was like, I had seen it when it first came out in like 2000. I don't remember. But when it first came out, I watched it and I remembered nothing about it. So when the person was like, have you seen The Right? I had no recollection of the movie whatsoever. And I now know why. It's a slow burn where nothing happens. It was Anthony Hopkins with a bunch of cats and a whole bunch of...
It's really dull.
It's super dull, which is too bad because like the guy who did 1408 did that.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
And it was like 1408 had
I
like
love
the
I thought this did not
1408.
deliver Us from Evil. It was the same thing. I really like Scott's stuff, and you get to that movie and you're like, it was a similar feeling as The Right, kind of just DOA. It's dead on the right.
Yeah.
Does The Right have that scene where he's following footsteps in the snow and they're not human, like they're hoof prints?
I don't... yeah. And it's the demon horse. There's a demon horse. That's not even the climax. That's just like a quick scene.
I'm still never going to watch it, so that's okay.
That's no good.
But I don't think,
I do have an
hold on, but I
umbrella.
don't remember the demon horse being in the snow. This is how exciting it was. I watched it less than a week ago.
It was somewhere. There were footprints
It's
somewhere.
long too. I think
It is. And like the whole 40 minutes in, you're sitting in a class being taught by a priest on exorcisms. And it's like a 20-minute segment. And by the end of it, I was like, I just sat through the class.
I'd put $100 you've never seen more than 40 minutes of any movie. I think you watch 40 minutes of every movie and then you just go, you turn off like a robot, and then somebody just fills you in with really weird details.
Dave comes up and he pulls the switch.
I need popcorn. And then I just disappear into the
You
kitchen.
wake up and ask Dave what happened, and then he just bullshit some other story, and then you go, cool, I'm ready.
Well, this one I did watch the whole way through because I
Sorry to hear
really
that.
liked this one. So last week I watched Backcountry, which I told you had a great
scene.
climactic scene, but that was it. The rest of the movie was just stupid people in the woods doing nothing. So Dave Parker had recommended when I was talking about how I was, I wanted a good bear film after that one. He said, you got to check out The Edge, which I've never seen before. 1997.
Directed by New Zealand's own drag queen,
Really?
Lee Tum-Hori.
No idea. It's another Anthony Hopkins film, which is continuing with my right trend. And it's also got Alec Baldwin in it.
Also
and
a big bear.
Big bear.
I loved it. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on.
All right. There it goes.
Sorry, I knew it was coming. I absolutely loved The Edge. Multiple bear attacks. It was just kind of exactly what I wanted Backcountry to be, but it was not.
Yeah.
See, I can't wait to see Roar. Now these speaking of animals. The Draft House
Roar,
movie.
I remember, I swear to God. So, and I remember you and Mike, East Coast Mike, and I thought somebody else. I thought Barnick. You guys were trying to track, because I remember talking about a lion attack movie that scarred me for life.
Okay.
And I remember Barnick was like, oh, yeah, it's this. And it was something called Savage Harvest, I think. And I remember I got a copy of it, and I looked at it, I was like, well, this looks familiar, but it's not evoking the images that I took away from like seeing this movie at 4 or 5 years old. And then I saw the trailer for Roar, and it all like... I felt like I was an assault victim. All of a sudden, all these memories start flashing, and I was like, oh my god, that's the scene. Those are the lions, and that's the house that they're trapped in. And then I was like, oh my god, I think this is it. So I need to rewatch it.
3 friends who went to South by, watched all the horror films at South by. All 3 of them said the best film at South by was Roar. And they said because it has no narrative, it's literally just a bunch of adults in a house being attacked by real animals. Like, who was the DP? The Jan de Bont or one of those guys? Like, has half his skull ripped out by, I mean,
Melanie
everyone got injured by these lions.
The trailer is unbelievable.
And none of us have ever heard of this movie because I guess it has hardly ever really played.
This is the weird thing. This is how things are so circular here in Los Angeles. So a good friend of mine was dating Tippi Hedren's son, who is in the movie. And when I was up at his house, he was like, Ryan, have you ever seen this movie called Roar? He's like, it's my movie. And my mom had like, she's got like her, animal sanctuary out in the sticks. And, you should really see this movie Roar. And he was really pushing it. And he had like promo shirts. He had like on VHS. He had the soundtrack. And I was like, yeah. He was kind of dismissive of it. And then he was showing me scars. And he's like, yes, this is what happened when this happened. And he's like, and then he like lifted up his
I heard it's really insane.
His hairline. He had like a big scratch from like where a lion clawed him. And I was like, wow, that's a really great story, man. Yeah, that's great. And I was like, I'll never see this movie. Yeah. What an idiot I am. Because honestly, I should have been paying attention and seen it.
But I mean, Draft House are really, like, a lot of them are saying this is like one of the best things I've ever discovered. They're like, this is that discovery that you just can't even believe you've had. And they get one of those every year, it seems. One of these kind of bizarre. But this one, it sounds fascinating.
But even the tagline of the poster is like 70 people were hurt in the movie. Like, no animals were harmed, but 70 people on the cast and crew were hurt.
The trailer.
We'll go back to Backcountry. I do want to say Backcountry, that attack is still better than any of the attacks on The Edge, but The Edge is a better movie.
The Edge is a much better movie.
Well,
I don't know
Backcountry
is basically an attack, right? In the movie we talked about last week.
Attack.
It's one of the best I've ever seen. One of the best horror scenes of the year. But the movie
great bear attack?
Yeah.
Because I think The Edge's bear attack is
the one on
this is just like a crazy gore scene. That will
but the one on
really
Harold Perrineau in The Edge is a crazy gore scene.
Yeah.
That one's pretty intense.
because that guy gets it.
Yeah.
The Edge was famous. Most of the famous guys, I guess Baldwin, I think at a certain point wouldn't talk to the director anymore.
Yeah.
And Baldwin and Hopkins wouldn't really talk. And they're so it's kind of like the Marathon Man stories. You'd hear about Olivier and Hoffman. They would have basically Alec Baldwin would have to go running for miles to hit his mark. And the exact same mark, Hopkins would be sitting there drinking tea and then just step to the mark and he would look like he'd just been running a mile. and there was like this joke between them constantly. And the director was like, kind of pulled in. And so it wasn't a good shoot. It was a very famously
screen because Hopkins and Baldwin are rivals on screen.
Yeah, no, it works.
So
it does work. I agree. I think it's a cool movie.
Yeah, it's a very cohesive movie.
I like that movie.
Yeah. Underrated film.
Yeah. And the bear in it. It's Bart the Bear.
Is that Bart?
Bart the Bear.
Yeah. So who I watched a documentary on at some point in my life, and he's just wonderful. He was the bear in the great outdoors. So when I saw him on screen, I was like, oh, it's Bart.
And,
but he's fierce in it.
River runs through it too, I think. He was like a Hopkins regular.
Yeah.
I heard Bart the Bear always asked for Hopkins on whatever production he was in. He was like, "Excuse me, sir."
Long.
Yeah, my good friend Anthony Hopkins.
Tony Hopkins.
Yeah.
They're tight.
All right.
Okay, that's all I got this week.
How about you, Ryan? Guess your four.
You know what? I have, and we could talk. I'm
going to ask you about some of the new things.
What was the last episode of Bloodcast? What have you seen since then?
You know what? With this new job, it is so rare that I actually get like 2 hours to dig into the library and go, I would like to watch this tonight. Over the weekend, I actually had 2 moments where I was able to I couldn't focus. I couldn't read. I was just like, F it. I'm going to lay down on Saturday night and Sunday night, just watch stuff. So I watched Prom Night.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
And I watched Prom Night and I watched Tourist Trap.
Nice.
And
on Blu-ray, the new ones?
The blue one, yeah, the new Blu-rays. And they both look absolutely amazing. Prom night is, and Collins for the longest time, Brian Collins for the longest time, he was like, poo-pooing prom night. And I was like, dude, I like prom night, man. I like prom night. It's all right. He's like, nothing happens in it. And I'm like, nah, I don't remember that, but he's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing happens. Nothing happens in this movie.
I remember it as being really boring, but the second one, Prom Night 2,
That's
Mary Lou, is amazing.
Hell yeah.
But but the thing is with prom night, I mean, like the time, for me at least, the time flew by. Like I got a kick out of, the teen drama that was occurring and the kind of the red herrings they kept throwing and all the silliness. But what I took away from it was like, oh my God, Jamie Lee Curtis looks like she's 45 in this movie. They hookered her out big time. She's like just wearing tons of makeup. She's got her blouse like half undone. Meanwhile, all these other teenagers look their age, totally age appropriate. So prom night, and then prom night culminates in just like kind of orgiastic violence at the very end, and you're like, okay, that's salvaged it. And then Tourist Trap is really good.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I haven't seen that since God, I don't know how long, but it's a lot of fun.
A lot of Mannequin Menace in there.
A lot of Mannequin Menace. Yeah.
And he's creepy. I mean, very Leatherface. Very Now, this is the release that there's some minutes missing. That was
supposedly, but I don't.
The director
know.
doesn't approve this release, but Charles Band does.
What, this is the release that went on Blu-ray?
Yeah, the Blu-ray. They cut somehow. Charlie cut a few minutes or something.
But it's like, I mean, did you really? I mean, obviously, you hadn't seen it in a long time.
No,
I don't know if it's a substantial amount.
Would you say you're scarred from those missing minutes? No. Can I put that on the DVD?
No. I was more scarred than from Chuck running after that girl in the woods, and he holds up that one head, and then the head like opens its mouth and goes, oh
yeah. I love that singing part.
Throws it at her.
Creepy. There's actually some creepy moments in that.
Yeah.
First time you see that movie, if you haven't seen that movie, watch it. It actually really kind of works as a horror film the first time you see it. Like it actually unnerves you a little.
No, it is, because I saw it much later. I didn't see it as a kid, and I thought it was really well put together. Yeah. And the soundtrack's really great, which I believe, is it Waxworks, or one of them is putting it out?
Waxwork Records is putting the soundtrack. Yeah, Pino Donaggio did it. But it's interesting. The movie really works as just like a cool little, funky little off-kilter slasher flick. I would love to see a prequel in which Chuck is like, putting together his personalities and working on his voices, working on his psychic abilities and making his mannequins talk.
The other kind of movies somebody should be out there trying to remake, not trying to remake. Yeah. Like another Leatherface. It's like, fucking Leatherface now. Let's go make Tourist Trap.
Tourist Trap would be
do something fun with it.
House of Wax.
No one's going to pay for Tourist Trap. That's the thing. It's always like what comes down to the most commercial. People know Leatherface. No one knows Chuck.
Yeah, no. They cut a great trailer from the original Tourist Trap, and people today would be like, what the hell is that?
The challenge. No, I posed the challenge to the fan editors out there to intercut a trailer that takes Tourist Trap and the House of Wax remake. The House of Wax remake is a better remake of Tourist Trap than it is House of Wax.
Yeah, that's true.
You're right.
It totally is. Right down from the kind of in Tourist Trap, they kind of allude to, oh, my brother this, my brother that. And it's like, no. They quite literalize that in the House of Wax remake where they actually made twin brothers. You got the sense of that in Tourist Trap, but it turned out to be like a little misdirect.
Is that your favorite Paris Hilton film?
Totally is.
Take that, Darren Bousman. Suck it. No, I really like that remake. I don't know what there's something about it. Really, of all the team, I know what you did last time. I think it's the best of all. Besides Scream, I think it's the best of all those knockoffs at that period.
Wow.
It's fun.
That's not that high praise.
I'm just saying that director's getting a lot of love today.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a fun film, and it really kind of amps up the gore, if I remember correctly. I haven't seen it in a while,
good set pieces.
It's got really good.
It totally uses like My Chemical Romance and Disturbed on the soundtrack.
I was like totally into at the time.
Did it make the news here that the whole entire studio burned down?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because when I was living in New Zealand, Australia, it was just like on fire. The entire thing burned
set
down.
Burned down to the ground.
Everything burned down.
Well, speaking of remakes, did you guys hear about the Suspiria TV show today?
Yeah, but I just
it doesn't even sound like it's a Suspiria TV show based on the movie.
Just take the title and remake. If anything, that's probably better because then we don't have to be sad about it.
Even the source material, they're like, it's going to be based on this book, and like then they explain what the book was. I was like, that sounds nothing like Suspiria.
Did the film just get shelved forever at this point? The remakes?
Yes.
David Gordon Green and all that stuff? Okay.
Yep.
Good.
No, I was actually stoked. I was actually interested in that version of it with the people involved. I mean, it's not going to be what the Argento one is, but it's like...
I'd rather just become part two. I was like, hey, let's just make a return to
Here's a quick pitch. Here's a quick pitch. You turn the Three Mothers trilogy into a television series. And basically, you
Call it
just
three mothers,
have
yeah.
you've got a female investigator in Europe, you've got a male investigator in the U.S., and things are happening in the U.S. Things are happening in Europe. They come together at some point during the season. They realize they're on the same investigation, and they realize they're on the trail of the three mothers.
And then you have a scene where Udo Kier is
This is why I get paid. I'm out.
yeah, a TV show would be cool. Three mothers is a good,
kidding.
good hook.
I'm kidding.
I don't think you're kidding.
I think this is real. It's a real pitch.
I would watch that.
No, because let's all remember last time I pitched a show on a podcast, and then they made the Omen
Omen.
television series.
It's not out yet, though.
Which
What
one?
it started
It's in
it?
development, though.
Which one?
Like
The Omen.
they're casting it.
Oh yeah.
Damien, yeah.
I gave my whole pitch on air.
I still want to know if Kevin Smith listens to our show. If you listen, Kevin, please tell us. Because remember the time I pitched the thing about the anthology that would be every major holiday?
Yeah,
and then
but
about 4 months later, that was put up.
pitched that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not on my
I've
show,
been
they did.
through
Wait a minute. Which one?
Do you know how much I
Which
heard
one?
about? Let's do Arbor Day.
The anthology that he's doing, where he's doing Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter, every major holiday. And I months before that, I put it on here, but I don't know. I like to think that he listens and just sits there and takes our ideas. Hopefully, he'll take my purge idea.
Yeah.
I wish I had somebody in the room who I could pitch that to again.
yeah, because it was a pretty good
I'm
idea.
taking no pitches tonight, guys. No pitches.
No pitches.
Damn.
Didn't they make your idea to 2? I don't know. I haven't seen it
I
yet.
haven't seen two. I want to. I like the Grillo.
Okay.
The
You
shouldn't
Grillo's,
admit
I wish
that.
the Grillo was Punisher, though. I think the Grillo would have made a good Punisher.
I'm going to go meet the Grillo next week. I'm going to
cool.
go out to set of
Stephanie's
Grillo.
on. Yeah, my friend's film right now. Ben Collins
Yeah.
is Stephanie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you met the writers, both of them yet? Ben and Luke?
No, just on Twitter.
Okay.
And
Good
Luke,
guys.
Luke is not even out
He's
here.
here right now.
Oh, he's here right
visiting
now.
for the film. Yeah. Anyway, well, so I've
I'll have
heard.
to tell him.
Anyway,
What are you guys talking about?
I went to-
Yeah,
Anyway,
what's
sorry.
gossiping?
there's a movie called Stephanie,
It's a movie called Stephanie.
being made by Bloom,
Okay.
and Akiva Goldsman, who's the writer of A Beautiful Mind.
Oh, wow.
is directing it, and he bought the script from two guys. Oh, one guy I went to film school with. Really good dude, Ben Collins, who listens to the show. Big fan of the shows.
Right on.
I was probably listening right this second. Anyway, I don't know much about it, but that's the way I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looking forward to hearing it.
What did you see this week, Elric?
I saw, I became obsessed by this. This show's fucking awesome, and I won't go too into it because it's French. Florida Family Noir Bloodline on Netflix is awesome.
Bloodline?
Ben Mendelsohn, who's one of my favorite actors on earth, has been for a long time. But in America, he unfortunately gets relegated to these little Batman. It's like, oh, you're a little spindly bad guy or whatever.
Yeah.
In Australia, and in movies like Animal Kingdom, he's a fucking beast, and he's always been a great actor. And this is the show with the first follow-up of the guy from Friday Night Lights, the main actor. It's got Sissy Spacek, Sam Shepard. Everyone is in the show, and it's about a Florida family where basically the brother who shouldn't be here, who always gets into trouble, comes back home, starts to realize no one wants him there, and basically finds a way to basically systematically destroy everyone. And it's fucking dark.
Wow.
And I'm up to so it's a brand new Netflix show. There's 12 episodes.
I
I'm
kept seeing
I'm up to 10. The first
ads.
couple you might take a little while to get into. Once it's hitting its stride, it's just good Florida noir. I really dig it.
Florida noir.
Florida noir is what I'm calling it.
That's
Deep
a new
Florida noir.
subgenre, my dear.
Would Wild Things fall into Florida
Oh,
Noir?
it would.
Oh,
Yeah.
good call.
Yep, Florida Noir. That's the only other one. As we all suddenly search our mind. Okay, and I told this story to you guys when I saw you at the party, but so this is fun. Okay, so we have, I think it was a guy called Bart who sent us those 3 discs last week.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He sent
Oh,
us
my God, yeah,
Butcher
this-
Baker, he sent us Superstition, and he sent us The Sender. Superstition was the only one I hadn't seen, so thank you, Bart. So I'm sitting there on Saturday night, and sometimes it takes you months before you get around to something that somebody hands you. And I had seen the cover of Superstition. I thought that looked actually really badass. Popped it in. First 10 minutes goes by. This is episode 99 of the show, and I'm not even joking when I say this is the craziest moment for me personally of our whole 99 episodes.
No, the things moment.
The things, but that we weren't.
That was
you're
pretty
right.
amazing.
But that had nothing to do with our show.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is to do with our show. Without the show, this guy never would have sent it to me. So I put it on. First 10 minutes is just a typical setup of a 80s slasher horror film, non-characters. And then the main character is introduced, and it's like a priest kind of guy, good-looking, Ted Danson-looking kind of guy. And there's just this moment where my brain kind of breaks, and I pause it, and I go, well, that's impossible. This couldn't be this guy I know. And then I like quickly look on IMDb, and his name's James Howden, and my wife's dad's best friend in the world is Jim Howden, and I spend a lot of time with this guy. He knows I do a horror show. We've talked about movies a lot. He's never told me he was the lead in a horror movie, and he's the fucking lead of Superstition. He's in every frame of this movie, and my mind is like blowing before the movie even really starts, and I'm like, holy shit. Then so I'm like, writing this really kind of snarky text to him while I'm watching it, because he's pretty average. And I mean, the director does none of the actors' favor in this movie, because there's really little editing. Everything's held in long takes, and to the detriment of the film. Like, it creates this kind of weird pacing. Now, that said, this film's fun. There's some really fun set pieces. There's some really good lighting, some really flourishes. What are you laughing at? No, because that's a Hollywood. The Hollywood diss, what you say, good cinematography.
Yeah.
Well, and I will say, this is directed by a cinematographer. The cinematographer of all of Charles B. Pierce's films is the director of this movie. So I think that's part of the problem. I don't think he has a great knack for directing, James Roberson. But the other thing, so besides the fact that it just blew my mind, I thank you, Bart, for sending me this movie. I'm going to have lunch with this guy in a couple of days. I'm excited to talk about. Is the other thing I'm thinking. I'm watching this movie going, man, this is so much like that movie that I only saw last year called The Evil. And I'm like, there's so many similarities to this.
Is that the one with the vampire bursting through the window?
No, it's the house.
It's the one. It's the cover with
supernatural downstairs.
That is the cover, though.
And then
That is the cover.
Oh, is it?
Okay.
It's the one where downstairs it's basically a haunted house film where everyone's in the house investigating it, and then downstairs, I mean, literally the most batshit ending of any movie. They go downstairs, and it's basically like the afterlife downstairs. It's a very weird movie. Anyway, I looked it up. Same screenwriter. So I'm sitting there watching this going, it feels like the same freaking movie to an extent. And it's Donald G. Thompson wrote both movies. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. So Superstition is fun, and I would recommend you check it out if you want, looking for something fun. But I personally, this was a pinnacle.
It's actually Twice Dead.
That's why I'm confusing it. It's a double bill. That's why I'm confusing it.
If you haven't seen The Evil, it's really like a very average movie for 80 minutes. And then people say,
what a great review.
People say WTF endings all the time. I don't think there could be a more crazy ending than this movie has in the history of film, because it's so.
Wait, you're talking about The Evil or Superstition? Oh, The Evil. Okay.
Superstition's
One of the cool
atypical.
Superstition things is, so Elric, I guess you watched it on Saturday night. Sunday, he comes over to Marnie's birthday party, and he's going off about the superstition and how it's got this guy in it named James Houghton and everything. Jim Houghton. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I've seen this before. And I walk out to my garage and realize I have the VHS
it's a nice
copy.
Cover too, yeah.
It's a gorgeous cover. I've never watched it before, but I found it at the Goodwill in North Hollywood for $1.
Nice.
And was like, I hadn't seen this. I'd never even heard of this.
It has some pretty cool set pieces, and some people get fucked up in it. Like, the deaths are pretty fucked up, but it's just one of those movies where you're like, it's pretty atypical of the time, where the acting's a little, hairy. But, hey, look, we do this show. We recommend you guys so many films. We always hear about that. I've got to say, it's nice to thank you back.
Yes.
Because that was a bit of a thrill. Mm-hmm. And the last one is something I was thinking about showing at Jump Cut. That Dick got from being a, when you invest in a Kickstarter, Call Girl of the Cthulhu.
Oh, I have that.
Yeah.
Call Girl of Cthulhu, yeah.
That's okay. So I would start this by saying this is not like meant for me, like in general. I'm not the target, but I much prefer this to Wolf Cop. It's my number one thing I'd say about it.
That's right. You guys saw Wolf Cop.
Yeah, we did Wolf Cop.
It's on Netflix since then.
It's on debate in a little bit.
Sarah Lynn.
We'll continue on.
The thing that I would
You
say
better not
about
defend it, dude. There's no way.
I love Sarah Lynn.
Yeah, you
I'll
can defend her.
her.
She's good. Here's the thing. We were talking about Troma a couple weeks ago. I think if this was the model for what Troma was trying to do, Troma could really be relevant again. I feel like this is very close to the feeling of what Troma used to be, and it's like slightly better, even though the production budget's probably exactly the same, if not less. Mm-hmm. They do a lot with little. The nudity's like treated naturally, rather like I mean, girls are just continually taking their tops off, but it's not treated like, oh, it's time to see something sexy. It's just people are having sex and things are happening. It's fun in that way. The Cthulhu stuff's fun. The effects are fun. Lots of blood, lots of gore, lots of just kind of insanity, but it's never cynical. I felt like that's where I couldn't shake Wolf Cop. There was that sense of let's make this movie called Wolf Cop and let's bang it out. That was just my gut. This didn't feel that way.
It's I just want to interject. It's from the creators of the WNUF Halloween special.
That's right, which I haven't seen, but I read that.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I wanted to see.
Have you seen that?
No, I mean like WNUF. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of.
Okay, then you might
Call Girl
dig.
of Cthulhu. Well, I mean they're different formats though. I mean Call Girl is more of a linear storytelling, kind of project. WNUF is supposed to be like a news broadcast told over the course of Halloween night.
Oh, cool.
I'll let you borrow. It's really,
Yeah,
really.
This is the way I did. If you've seen Demon's Rook, I would say this is somewhere between Troma and the Demon's Rook. So it's not as boring as Demon's Rook, but it has like those flourishes of artistry that film has. But it has that feeling of good Troma. The guy's name is Chris LaMartina, and I would total hats off for whatever they achieved on that budget. I take my hat off and bow to these guys, whether it's your bag or not, because I'm just not that horror, like kind of, it's a little slapsticky horror comedy kind of for me. But I think for a lot of people, that's their thing.
And it's also interesting because they're kind of like a interesting beacon of independence, because I was going after, when I was doing distribution of Shock with The Orchard, when I saw WNUF Halloween special, I was like, can we get this? What's the deal? And he was like, oh no, we've got this domestic distribution through this like really small company, and they just press the DVDs as we get the orders and we put them out. And then they sent me Call Girl of Cthulhu, and I was like, what about this? This sounds fun. And they were like, no, same deal. So they don't really, I don't think that they're in it for obviously, the big,
Right.
the fame or whatever. I think they're just in it because they love making films and love making horror films, and they're like kind of self-distributing. So that's to be applauded at least.
Yeah, and I don't know how it's available right now, but I do know that people who did the Kickstarter have been sent a copy beyond that. And so maybe they're the good version of Kickstarter. I'm sure we'll talk about Kickstarter later. But the idea of people who actually get sent the thing that we're going to get sent.
Yeah.
So
that's
hats off to those guys.
Yeah, that rarely happens.
Okay, I saw a couple of quick things. A couple of weeks ago, I was treated to a Mario Bava double feature by Scott Reynolds over at the Egyptian. They were showing Black Sunday and Black Sabbath, two great ones. I had actually never seen. I'd only seen pieces of Black Sunday.
Yep.
I was confused the two. Black Sabbath is the one that I love.
Anthology.
The anthology, yeah.
That's the anthem.
But I hadn't seen Black Sunday, and it was really interesting to see it on the big screen. You really, Bob is one of those guys that I never got into. I mean, I saw a few of the films, but for whatever reason, growing up, that was like, I was more familiar with his son, Lamberto. So it's like I just missed a lot of the Bob stuff. And also, it was a little bit older. So when you're a younger horror fan, you're like, oh, this is in black and white, whatever. But now, especially on the big screen, you could really appreciate what a damn good director he is.
Yeah, he has real chops. He has a real classical director.
The way that the camera is framed and the transitions and everything that happens in Black Sunday is like, that's actually like an auteur. You can tell like, oh, now I totally get why Bob is who he is.
There's one you would love called The Girl Who Knew Too Much.
Yeah, I have that one.
That film is like as close to, everyone always talks about, it's Hitchcockian. That's as close as I've ever seen to what I feel like a Hitchcock film was.
Yeah.
Really well made.
I have a Bava box set that I've been making my way through.
Yeah, I have part 1 and part 2 of that.
Those two I wanted to go see on the big screen. And actually the highlight, Emmy Barbara Steele was there, which was kind of neat and got a little Q&A. But the best part of it, actually, there was a short film that played in between both of them called The Mill at Calder's End, and it was directed by a guy named Kevin McTurk. And it's really interesting. I didn't know anything about it.
The puppet thing?
Yep. It's like 14 minutes long. It feels like Bava meets Hammer, but it's all performed by puppets. And it's got like, when you're watching it for a few minutes, it looks live action, but then you're like staring and you're like, is this like a Scanner Darkly kind of weird animated thing? Like it's so off-putting that you're just like, I'm not really sure what I'm watching right now. And then of course you realize, oh, it's puppets. It's a whole thing done with puppets.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
But yeah, what's neat is there is a puppet of Barbara Steele. She plays one of the lead characters. So it was interesting because the puppet looks exactly like she did in Black Sunday. So it was kind of a weird way.
Holes in the
When
face.
was this made recently?
Yeah, very recently. I think it premiered a few months ago. I know a few of our friends.
Yeah, it was over at, they had a premiere at Jim Henson's studio.
That's it. Yeah. And so they played this in between those two Bob films, and I thought it was actually really excellent. It was really, really different and unique and kind of cool.
Can you find it anywhere yet?
What's that?
Can you find it anywhere yet?
No, I think right now I would assume it's just doing festivals or playing at events like this.
But it's a short?
Yeah, it's a short, and it's called The Mill at Calder's End. I'm sure there's probably a Facebook or some kind of info.
There is,
there's
a Facebook for it.
Which order were the shorts, the anthology pieces in?
It's the Italian version, the original Italian version.
Right,
Yeah,
so it ends with, what was the last story?
The corpse in the bed, though.
Okay, drop water.
Good.
That's how it should end. Though when I saw it recently, it ends with the longest one, the Boris Karloff, and it's really not a good
You need
order.
to watch the original Italian one to really
because that last story
appreciate
is so good.
Yeah.
Drop
No,
it. I
that's
mean,
pretty
to
great.
me, and I feel like there's so much of Dario's style in that one story.
Yeah.
Like just the color, everything about it.
Yeah, it's a top-notch anthology. And speaking of anthologies, I also have a copy right here of the Blu-ray for From a Whisper to a Scream.
Big fan.
We should have Darren on soon.
We have to. We absolutely have to. This is a really cool one. Scream Factory puts it out on April 28th, so later this month. I hadn't seen it in a couple of years. It's pretty good. It's again, it's an anthology, 4 different stories, really interesting cast. Vincent Price kind of does the whole wraparound with Susan Tyrrell, who we were talking about last week.
I didn't realize
she's
she was
the
in
actress that acts against
weird.
him. And then there's people like Terry Kaiser and just a lot of interesting, recognizable faces.
And Clue
The
steals the whole
Clue
movie.
Gluger segment
Gluger
is
is
amazing.
Yeah.
His segment is by far the best, and it's a really interesting movie. It's not great, but as far as anthology goes, it's really interesting. But to me, there's actually a 2-hour documentary on this called "Return to Oldsfield: The Making of From Whisper to Scream." And the thing is, like, before I even moved out here and before I met people like Darren Scott, who produced this, or Jeff Burr, the director, I was a huge fan of those guys. Like, I grew up knowing Jeff directed, Leatherface and the Puppet Master movies and all this kind of stuff. So I've always known them socially and as a fan, but this doc on here is fantastic. It's because it's a really in-depth look at these guys who met in college. There's like a young Darren Scott in 8mm films of in Super 8 shorts that Jeff directed.
Cool.
And talking about them getting together in college with Bill Butler, with Jeff Burr's brother, William Burr, and producing this anthology and kind of going through all the steps of how it was like to make a movie back then, to like really try to make a movie.
How'd they get Vincent Price to do?
Amazing story. And you have to either have Darren tell it or watch it on the documentary.
Okay.
The very short version, because it is actually a long, drawn-out thing, but the earliest version of it is that they both, at that time period, bought one of those Hollywood maps to the stars that you would buy on Hollywood. I mean, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But they
still
bought
have
it.
them?
Yeah, but they're not. I mean, now there's like stalker rules and all sorts of crazy. Like, I don't know how accurate they are.
I don't know.
But at the time, they found a booklet that had Vincent Price's address on it, and they were both literally waiting outside his house. And they're just like, I don't know, you go up there. No, you go up there. Like fighting over who goes to knock on the door. And then the mailman showed up and opened the door, and they saw Vincent in an apron cooking or whatever he was doing.
Wow.
And they both went up and like knocked on the door, and he's like, oh, gentlemen, come in. And he hung out with them for like 15, 20 minutes. They chit-chatted about a little bit of everything. They pitched the film to him, and he initially said no. So that's where the long story comes in, is how long it took to get him in there. Although there's some good revelations about Forrest Ackerman, who was supposed to do a cameo and kind of rallied against the movie hardcore.
Yeah.
Like super offended by the Clue Gulager segment.
It's a hardcore segment. I mean, it's pretty disturbing.
And
It's
again,
great.
it's, Clue's on the dock too. It's fun to see.
That's the tone that I want from a Leatherface movie, is the tone of that one short. You know what I mean? Like the incest between the brothers. It just feels grimy and wrong,
and I'm sure Jeff, tried to do that for his movie.
I like Leatherface. It's,
But yeah, it's really great, and I recommend it solely. I mean, the movie's great, and it looks good, but getting the doc on here, and there's another doc that's equally as long, all about their Super 8 films that they made in the 70s in Georgia, which I only just started. So really good package. I recommend
Hopefully
that.
he comes out to LA and comes on the show someday.
I would love to have Jeff on the show. And in the meantime, we'll definitely get Darren on because he'd be fun to talk to. And really quickly, because we've talked about these a lot, but I finally saw Annabelle, which I put off for a very long period of time, which is normally what I like to do, especially when there's any kind of hype, whether positive or negative for a film. And it was just okay. I mean, the obvious thing that everybody says, it's missing James's touch, obviously.
I don't know.
character
there was
thing, I
one
think, the
segment for me that I could feel James in, was the elevator in the basement.
Yeah, that was pretty, I mean,
That's the
scene.
one
There's good-
really tense scene
There's
for
good
me.
set pieces. I think the biggest problem with it, and again, I didn't know much about it going in, but it's like, okay, you hear Annabelle, the prequel to The Conjuring. I think as a fan, killer doll, But then I remember that Annabelle is actually not the name of the demon. Like, it has nothing to do with what's in the doll. Yeah. So the fact that, like, I just feel like that movie was maybe 2 or 3 drafts away from being what it should have been. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like, okay, so there's a girl named Annabelle that's sort of like this Manson cult kind of girl, but she's not the spirit that's in the doll because that's a totally different entity, as we're told in The Conjuring. It almost feels like there's multiple things going on, and it's not balanced as well as it is in The Conjuring.
Yeah,
where
there's a lot of movies struggling for identity in that movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got like the kind of cult aspect, you've got the doll aspect, and as much as people want to go into a killer doll movie and see a story about a doll that's like super evil and running around, you got to remember that it's also kind of silly too.
Yeah.
So if people actually saw Annabelle, the thing with handling a killer doll movie, I think now is it has to be handled not like Chucky, but like the Deep Red Doll. You know, when it like comes out and it's like, and it's like looking all mechanical and stuff.
That works because it's only a 2-minute scene in the movie.
No, totally. It has to be something like to that
like
degree.
Dead of Night from 1945. That scene still scares the shit out of me. Where the entire movie, you don't even know if the doll is real or not. Like he's just talking to it, and you think he's nuts. And then in the last 20 seconds, the doll stands up, and you're like, "What the fuck?" And then it's done.
Yeah, you can't have it just walking around. I also think people underestimate the star factor too. Like we're talking Vera Farmiga.
No one went to go see The Conjuring because of Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson.
Oh, it's nothing about going. It's about they're so good. They improve the film. It's not just James's. Right. We'd say it's James.
Annabelle did very well.
These are really good actors. And you watch Annabelle and you just go, the actors, I'm not invested. I just don't care about it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure it didn't damage the property, and they're going to make plenty more.
Just good.
But I just wish it was. It's okay. I like certain things about it. I just wish it was better.
Yeah. Was that a Bloom film?
No.
Conjuring and Annabelle were not Blumhouse films. Although we joke, we're like, yeah, I know. Not us.
Could have been or no?
Hey, you guys had the marked ones. Respect. I like the marked ones.
I did too.
I'm a fan of those guys running around.
I like the marked ones.
Look, you got a gangbanger shooting a witch. What more do you want from cinema, people? What more? And time travel, for Christ's sake.
We were talking about it at lunch today, about how, Paranormal 2 had some good scares in it, but Marked Ones just shined above all of them.
I just thought it was, I think it was the first one where I liked anyone. You know what I mean? I was like, I like those guys. They're cool.
It was the first one where I was interested in the characters, because before it's just like, upper middle class white family with 2 kids. And that was the first one I was like, okay, you give me something interesting here. I like this.
I've yet to see this franchise.
No, get the fuck out of here.
None of them?
You haven't seen a single
it's
one?
It's like my Phantasm.
There's like 5.
I saw an early version of the first one, and I just thought it was so awful. I never wanted to watch it.
We talked about this at dinner on Saturday night. We were talking about it with a couple people at dinner, where they had shown so many test screenings of it. Like they brought one to the Fango
we all
office
had multiple endings.
Yeah,
and which ending did you see?
Yeah, like 4 of us were sitting there at dinner, and all of us had different endings, and all of us had different lengths, and all of us took something different away. Where one person was like, "Oh, I saw this ending and I loved it," and I was like, "In my ending, she just turned off the camera, and that was the end of the fucking movie."
I saw a really early one that I was not into at all.
I gotta say, it's kind of a weird guilty pleasure for me. Like, because I'm pretty against found footage, and yet somehow something about those films, each one except for I guess it's 4, whatever the one that didn't do so well with the blonde girl.
That was the video game one.
It missed too many opportunities for good scares where they set them up and didn't deliver. But each one is actually number 2 is actually kind of a really effective little movie. It's I don't know. There's something about them. I know.
Don't you mean 3?
No, 2, well, I think 3's better, but 2's the one with all the security cameras. And I watched that alone at home, and it actually unnerved me. It was one of the first films in a long time. I think you might be surprised that they're actually pretty entertaining.
Ryan, hook it up. You got some Blu-rays or what?
Yeah.
We're going to watch this franchise.
How about we'll watch them all together and then watch them? Is there a new one?
There's a new
what's
one
next?
coming up, right?
Where are we going next?
Don't you guys have 2 of them coming out?
I can't. It comes out in October.
Okay.
Wait a minute. How can you not tell us about a movie that's coming out in like 2 months?
Can't tell you. It comes out in October.
Is it a continuation of the regular story, or is it like
in trouble.
Is it a time travel film?
Is there a witch door?
It is Katie Featherston.
Is there a time travel witch door? What was I gonna say?
Are we ever going to see Oren Pelly's? What's that movie? That Sight one.
Oh my God! So did you see the
story about?
I can actually
River coming back is what I want to know. I liked that show.
The River's gone.
River. I passed by the poster.
Remember we had Oren.
I pass by that poster every day when I go into my office. I was going to say, I don't know if you saw on Twitter and on Instagram, but for a week, my boss, Jason Blum, took over social media.
Oh, cool.
And in addition to tweeting about I'm in the dentist chair, or here's my car, and I drive a smart car because of the environment and all this other stuff.
Here's my purple pants.
Somebody did ask him about Area 51. And he said, news very, very soon.
No, but a couple nights ago, there was something.
Take
somewhere.
that for what you will.
Yeah, there's something somewhere saying we might yet see it, and I was like,
"That's where it came from. That's where it came from."
Because
that
when
tweet.
I first moved here, a good friend of mine from Chicago, who's an editor, he told me that his best friend came out here and started acting in a movie. And the movie was Area 51, 57, or whatever it is. And he said at first he was the 4th to lead character. The first version of the film they filmed, he wasn't very important, and then they refilmed, and he was the lead. And then he came back for a reshoot a couple years. So it sounds like he just kept coming back for so it'll be very interesting to see what they are doing with it. I'm just curious.
Okay.
I mean, I guess Warren had enough money where he can be like, I don't want to show that movie.
I don't know.
Shelve it.
If only somebody in this room actually knew the answers and would be
I don't know.
Yes.
Don't know.
But
anyway.
I do want to cut to the ending of Sinister 2.
Come on.
There's a poster. There's a poster on the
I did see
web.
this. I
I
saw
don't
the
know
trailer.
that.
By the time this
So-
airs, the trailer will be out, I believe. Yeah.
So wait, did you see anything else, Rob, or did
So
we just cut you off?
We
totally?
did. Just one last thing that I wanted to bring up. My friend Kat Knipp, who hosts a podcast called Boys and Ghouls,
Is that how
going
you
through-
pronounce her last name? Sorry, Kat.
I think.
Oh.
I think it's Lima.
Yeah, there you go.
I call her Cat Kanipi, but you know.
Maybe it's not.
I thought it was Kat Knipp.
Let's just say
Knippe.
Kat.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Kat's going through the entire Saw franchise for her podcast.
Oh.
And once she got to Saw 3D, I was like, I have it in 3D. And that is the only possible way that could be even remotely
Smooth
enjoyable.
criminal over here.
Yeah.
So we watched that last night. I haven't seen it since it was in theaters because it's an awful movie.
They don't hold up.
No, they don't.
I don't even think it is a movie.
I like 1 and 6, but the problem with Saw 3D, and you know what's funny is because immediately after we watched it, I also have a really fun interview with Marcus and Patrick, the writers, that I did for FearNet, that I posted on, which is about a year after the movies came out, where they were able to talk about it a lot more candidly. And I mean, some of the funny stuff is like, they wanted $1 million opening, and because they couldn't understand why Saw 6 didn't make all this money. It's like, because there was a good movie out that everybody wanted to see. So them talking about what they did for Saw 7 and watching it, my biggest problem is, I guess, the morality problem. Like, I remember joking before 6 came out, doing an interview on a red carpet with Patrick and Marcus, and just saying, hey guys, so are you gonna maybe kill people that like deserve it instead of like innocent cops for the last 2 movies?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're totally gonna kill people that deserve it this next one. Just wait, because it just became like from 3 and on. It's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
just taking out the whole police force and people that even remotely connected. But yeah, that's kind of my problem with it. Is it's not a very satisfying conclusion. All you really need is the last 5 minutes. That's all everybody really wanted to see out of that franchise.
Question I'm posing for the table.
Yes.
So why is it that franchises today, and there are a few that have gone beyond 5 or beyond 4, why don't they hold up for us as much as Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street? Like franchises from the 80s.
I think it's just when we saw them. I really do.
You think
do.
so?
Yeah, I
As
think
well.
there'll be some kids who are watching Saw movies who that's nostalgia
Because
for
I
them.
Yeah.
mean,
I do
Final
think
Destination, I'll revisit.
Uh-huh.
Like I'll revisit the best ones of that,
Yeah. Oh
and
my
I'll
God, I
get
love
I'll
them
get a
all.
thrill out of them. But I can't revisit Saw, and
Yeah.
I can't revisit
Hostel or
Yeah.
Oh, there's only
I
2.
can't.
no, there's 3 hostels.
That's 3.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Paranormal
Yeah,
Activity,
yeah.
Paranormal Activity, I appreciate and I watched, and
They're not really rewatch movies. They're the kind of movie you watch
Well,
them to
they're-
get creeped out.
I feel like
I wonder if people said the same thing about Freddy or Jason, when they were our age in the
Well,
80s. Again, I'm trying
Well,
to
this one is
VHS boom and rewatching movies on VHS was such a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 2
rental
part.
biz.
One is, we for those older franchises, we were at the age where we were watching them on video, and we were young enough for them to be impressionable.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, for the more latter franchise, it's like for Saw in particular, and I'll even say for Scream. To me, they were theatrical experiences. Like, it was great seeing Saw every year with a full
sure,
packed
yeah.
house. Same thing with Scream. I remember 1, 2, and 3. It'll be interesting because 1 and 2 are playing at the New Bev, which
can't
I'm
wait.
sure we're going to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to see it with an audience again and have people get into it. Whereas you watch, like, I enjoyed Scream 4 when it came out because I went to a midnight screening and saw it with a bunch of fans. And then I watched it at home when it came out on DVD, and I was just like, man, this movie kind of sucks. And it was just because it didn't hold, like, I knew all the twists and it
I
didn't hold up.
struggled with
that
Scream
thrill.
because Scream 1 is so good.
Yeah, the first
And
one
so I
is so
struggled
great.
with that franchise because I just didn't, the rest never could capture that. And I almost wish that Wes hadn't been the director on them, because at least then, like Friday, they could have gone off maybe in crazier directions. But because they have that uniformity of director, which is usually something I would want from a franchise, there's something about it that just kind of, there's a sameness to the setups,
Scream, I don't mind revisiting. But yeah, I feel like echoing what you said, Rob. I feel like Saw, Paranormal Activity, Final Destination to a degree, they are experience movies. Like,
Yeah.
you get that kind of like one and done. You're there for the theatrical run. You get the great energy that comes from seeing those with a crowd, and then once you're at home, you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, once you know what's coming.
However,
I have a feeling that if we asked some younger generation folk, like even John Humphrey, he would probably love the entire Saw series. I mean, like it's
John works for Elric at Chumcut, just so you.
but
know
you
we're
would like,
talking.
but John would just go, man, I'm really jonesing to watch Saw 4 tonight.
Never.
Really, like there are some great moments in that. Really,
We
when
have
I-
to come up with these are guys like anyone under our age, basically anyone literally under our age.
beware of sounding curmudgeonly.
No, but who didn't, these
I'll
are
join in
people
with that.
who didn't grow up revisiting Friday 13th on video every year. So these are people who probably now have to go seek it out for the first time. Oh, I'm going to watch a Friday the 13th 2 for the first time all these years later. So it's a totally different thing than being born into that world where that's what you're watching every, Friday night. You're renting like 4 of those movies,
See, I still want to do a You Pesky Kids episode where we ask like some friends and we have on like
oh my
Sean
God, can
Keller's
I come back
kid.
on that? Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I want to have on like 16-year-olds
Yeah.
and ask them, how do you watch movies? What's cool? Where do you get your knowledge of what movies are coming
Yeah.
out? It's
That's
like a
the-
focus
Oh my God.
group.
No,
No,
that's-
that's a great idea.
Is that
the-
not?
That's
Yeah.
the Blake
Yeah, but don't let him
pitch
come because
from
he's going to
last
take
time.
all the secrets to Bloom.
And-
It's all gonna.
It's
I
like
know what
my
you're here
focus
for.
group because we spend so much time talking about like, okay, well, when I was a kid, box covers sold me. What sells kids now? Or when I was a kid, I found out about movies by going to the local video store or seeing trailers before other movies. How do you find out about movies?
No, it's very
now?
different. Yeah.
So yeah, I want a focus group of kids.
I'll tell you what, 5 years from now, you guys are going to be chomping the bit. I'm telling you, one of the best part 3s ever. It Follows Part 3. When that hits, you're going to cream your fucking pants, dude. Like,
Part
it is
3
so
is going to
good.
be It Followed.
Part 3.
Yeah.
I hope It Followed is as good as
It's going to
Nightmare
be
Theory.
our brand new Poltergeist Part 3.
No,
See,
there was
it's gonna
somebody
go-
posting, I don't want a sequel to that movie, and I'm just going,
That would be
fuck,
Jerry.
man, I want it so
was
hard.
reading your guys'
I
conversation.
want to see what you could do with that in different situations.
One, I did see someone go or retweet somebody, and it was like, I don't want to see a sequel, and I don't want to see a prequel. And I just wanted to chime in and go, then don't see it when I make it. You don't need to see it, dude.
You have to.
Secondly, it should go, It Follows, It's Following, and It Followed.
No, It Follows, Island of It Follows.
I
It follows in space.
You're on an island and it just keeps circling the island after you. You keep walking in circles, and that's it.
I want it to go in space where it's just floating towards you very slowly.
But
It's
no,
just
I mean,
floating. It's just
this is
floating in a
question.
spacesuit.
But this is a fun one to jump on right after what he was just saying.
Yeah.
Have you seen films in the last like 5 years? Films like It Follows, The Descent, Babadook, anything like that, where you did want a franchise that never necessarily eventuate. Like you're like, I would love to see more movies from that world,
Yeah.
not just because it's a franchise,
Yeah.
but because there's more story to be mined. Like
I
I
had
mean,
quite a couple.
Yeah,
Quite a couple.
for me,
Yeah.
Cube, and they obviously
But they did do
They made
Like
like 4.
Yeah, I know, but none of them really
What do you want,
paid
8?
off.
Oh,
And I mean,
you want-
by the
wait a
time
minute,
that's not the question.
I think that's a test. I think
Motherfucking question.
Fine.
these are moments.
In that
These are-
case, I will say Pontypool for me. Just because
Pontypool does
That's
seem like the
valid.
world.
that was based. Okay, that was valid.
Pontypool. No.
Listen to all the instructions before you answer.
These are guys such as Rich.
No,
These are the-
Pontypool does sound like the opening of a Walking Dead type series. It
No,
feels like the opening of a
because
series.
no.
Pontypool and the whole kind of, I loved the disease that they set up in
Yeah,
Pontypool,
that's
and it's
cool.
based off a series of books. Sounds like, I think it's called Sounds Like Pontypool or something like
Yeah.
that. And after the movie,
Hold on, I just
was
need to
so,
text Vincenzo to say you don't believe his other films.
Oh my god!
These are the
I
moments when I'm
believe
driving in my
they
car and I go,
exist.
God damn it, guys!
You're like you're wishing you were there, and now that you're here, you're powerless, just like us. You can't stop her. She
Shut
follows.
the fuck up, all of you.
Love you, love you.
I love all of you. But I say Cube because I wanted a film to do what you said with It Follows, where it actually explores the world that it sets up. And
Right.
none of them really do that. The most that it gets to is exploring the people who control the cube, which happens in Hypercube.
But isn't it a bummer when you overanalyze a movie like that?
It never really gets there.
It's like you kind of the mystery of the first Cube movie is the only thing that makes that movie interesting, right? The
I don't
style and
think
the way
so.
there's a mystery about it.
Yeah, see,
to
but
me,
I wanted that, like, or the prequel to It Follows would obviously have to set up kind of more of the mythos
Yeah, I wouldn't
and
want
give
a
you a little
prequel.
bit more.
That's just some people wanted that. I'm like, no, I don't need to see that. I just want to see more stuff, like with a
Okay.
different group of people. Like, what about businessmen and adults and like prison? It follows. You got it in prison, then the guys
Oh
are
my
coming
God.
in prison showers. Oh
That's
god,
a great one.
Sweet Jesus, what are
Okay.
you doing in prison with me? I mean, that's a
So
scary
fine.
fucking movie.
Since you vetoed my first answer, I'll say Pontypool.
Okay.
They were supposed to make They were supposed to make a
I
sequel
know.
to that, but then financial difficulties plagued it.
Yeah,
Here's
that
a
was
question
one. I
for
just thought the
Ryan.
disease was
Wait,
awesome.
Wait, you didn't answer your
No,
question.
no. This
Yeah.
is still part of it. It's
Okay.
just because she said Pontypool. Did you see Bruce McDonald's new movie at Sundance?
Hellions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like the way you said that. I saw some images that looked really cool, but no. Okay, we'll skip that. All right, pretend I never asked. What about you guys?
Sequels?
Yeah, just anything you saw that you were like,
well, I mean, I love Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie
that's
Vernon.
right. Of course,
And it's a shame that they never got to make another one of those. I mean, maybe at some point, but I don't know if at this point. Otherwise, I know all the guys that did The Signal, the original one, with AJ had a lot of really interesting ideas for where they would have taken it, and they were supposed to do sequels to that.
That has such a low budget. Couldn't they have just done another? Or did they need to go bigger?
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know the logistics, but I imagine it's difficult. It was probably difficult enough to get 3 directors to agree on one movie. So when it comes to the sequel, I'm sure it's just as difficult. I don't know. But the ideas that I heard them bat around, I thought were really fascinating because you could literally go to any part of that town in the middle of that same day and find an interesting story. But other than that, I mean, if we're talking mid budget, I wish they made another Cloverfield. I know they talked about it for a while. That was a cool, it was a cool, interesting like start to a monster franchise, and it's just kind of like. But at the same time, I kind of dig that it's one and done. Yep. Like that's the only thing, like it's a cool movie on its own. So I don't know, you guys.
Yeah, Ryan.
I don't know. I mean,
Sinister, Paranormal Activity, Insidious. Your boss is whipping you from it. Now, Sinister, I'm glad that they're making a sequel for sure. I think that was a cool world they set up, and I'm interested. I'm hooked.
Guys, My Bloody Valentine remake.
Oh yeah, that's a sin that they didn't get to. Make
that is like,
no.
That's a no brainer. Like you go with it. Jensen Ackles giving like a little evil smile at the end. Come on. Yeah. Last House on the Left remake, guys. That was sequel waiting to happen.
Yeah, but there's like 12 of them. I actually liked the Last House. Who hasn't made a new Last House on the Left sequel?
I like that. I liked
the original. Yeah. I liked the original remake.
They kind of flubbed the Hills Have Eyes a little bit. You know, I mean, not to continue on this, like, let's make sequels to remakes, but Hills Have Eyes, like, they kind of.
The second one was really good, though.
No.
Becca, I liked it.
Becca, I will take this bottle and I will smash it over your head. It is awful. Becca, it's awful.
Guys, we're getting Clark. I'm calling him. We need a token woman, Clark. Quickly. And bring your parts number 6 from that list you never brought way back when. Yeah, you know the one.
You're calling that 6 or 2013 or something. Okay. Jesus.
My Bloody Valentine's my thing.
It's not part 2 is definitely not the first remake, but I didn't hate it.
I thought the first one was pretty cool. I actually did a pretty good job.
Becca, here's the problem with Hills Have Eyes 2. No one actually dies by the hands of any of the mutants. They all die because of their own fucking errors. They either shoot each other, one of them falls off a fucking cliff because of his own mistake. They all die by their own fucking hands.
I saw a midnight screening of that in New York when it released, and I had fun with it.
She's really accident prone, so loves that kind of stuff. I can totally identify.
It makes me feel better about my falling down the stairs all the time.
And you know what was great? Chevelle had a new song on it. It was so good.
That's true. I agree. I like Chevelle, man.
I just love that little period, 2005 to 2010-ish, where it was just like, fuck yeah, soundtracks. Yeah, you did all right with your new rock, your new metal rock.
Song in here.
In fact, one of the going jokes that I have in essence, one of the going jokes that I had with one of the dudes at Fantastic Fest is like, we want to do a Freddy versus Jason reunion tour where it's just all the bands on a Freddy versus Jason soundtrack, and then like have a reunion concert out in a cornfield and just a guy running around in a Jason mask.
That'd be pretty amazing. You know what? You just pitched the next like convention idea. That's
pretty good.
Sean Clark, take it away. It's all you, buddy.
Go.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen. I mean, Descent 2 was, obviously somewhat disappointing.
I kind of like it. Like once you get over the stupidness of them going back to the cave.
Shouldn't we all jump down Rob's throat because he likes Descent 2?
Well, I like that it's like I'm just saying. I'm saying that it's. I'm saying that's the franchise I most would have seen like strong sequels. Say Neil had done it. I did pitch them recently that I think I would love. That's one of the few stories I think you could make a really interesting origin for, because it's about the people who got trapped down there way back when, the cavers who become these vampires.
Isn't that the story for Raw Meat?
Isn't that the character from Toy Story?
Good one, Becca.
I'm the prospector. Oh no, we're all trapped in a cave.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
We used to be in the London
I think
Underground
that could be
digging
cool.
the tunnels and got trapped down here.
No, but they became vampire. I mean, it would be just to me. That's like there could be a Donner Party-esque movie.
It's
No.
also the story of
Okay.
They've been there all along.
I got the obvious one in the room, guys, is The Strangers.
Yeah, I mean, what happened with that? Is
I
that
thought
ever
Mockingbird
going
was
to
a
happen?
sequel. It's so good. Especially the end. It's unbelievable. Wow. So good.
That was the clown one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
One,
little
Roy
painful.
Lee produced The Strangers, not Jason Blum. And secondly, I don't know what happened. I mean, like I think most of us in the room read the script for Strangers 2 because it's out there now.
Yep.
And it was really good. It was kind of like a housing crisis movie. And it was about a family that had to like squat in a trailer park because they lost their home, and then the man in the mask and the two girls showed up, and there was like a great scene I remember where one of the teenage daughters goes to like gather all her friends in a adjoining trailer at like on the outskirts of the park, and then the man in the mask shows up with a chainsaw, and he just I remember the script. The script described it as man in a mask walks up to the trailer door, or opens it, goes inside, and we hear the chainsaw rev, and all the kids just start screaming. And then he just walks out completely bloody.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that I want to see. I want to see that.
That's probably why I didn't get made that scene.
Did he just never get funding for it?
No,
or?
what happened is Rogue was involved. Rogue was, I think Rogue was involved in the first one, and then Rogue went belly up, and then, or was it Relativity? I don't know. There was one.
Relativity wasn't around in horror back then.
No. Whoever was involved in it, they went belly up, and then,
Oh, and
What's he been doing since Bertino?
Pertino?
Yeah, because obviously Mockingbird is so long
Well, he did
ago.
Mockingbird, and
That's a long time ago.
he's writing specs and doing other stuff. Yeah.
you know,
But he's good, and he's someone I think people
He's
want
got
to see
good
make a good
instincts,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, I think people want to see him make. Like, I'd rather somebody go, Halloween's being remade by him, or something like that.
Yeah, I know, right? He had that movie that we picked up on when I was on Shock, and Brad and other guys. But he was pitching a movie about the one night of year that like a bunch of reapers come out and like they take select people all over the world, like these like
cool.
deaths. And I was like, that's like that's a cool world building kind of thing. You
Yeah.
know, that's like a Purge-esque.
Yeah, but for horror. Yeah, no, I like that. It's interesting. But yeah, I mean, most recently I saw both Babadook and It Follows, and both of them are so strong that you can't help but go, oh, I would be happy to see that thing again. Now, unfortunately for Babadook, it's such a perfectly self-contained story, but the actual Babadook itself is so perfect for franchisability.
Well, Babadook, I mean, like
You know?
then it becomes a family-friendly movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By,
As soon as
by
it-
episode 2, I mean, like Babadook is spoilers.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be like, My Pet Babadook.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have mind. And there may be one in the pipeline I'm not aware of because it seems like they would do something. But I liked Oculus enough and the mythos that it set up that I would have liked to have seen a sequel to that. And the Evil Dead remake. I liked.
Yeah, no, I
what
agree with
set
that,
up.
actually. I
And
think there's
wouldn't-
enough there to make
I
more.
wouldn't want it to be remade into kind of the slapstick comedy that Evil Dead 2, the original one, was. I would want it to stick with that kind of grisly gruesomeness
Well,
of
there's
the
an
remake.
amazing interview with Bruce Campbell
yeah,
on
he said.
IGN that I shared a few days ago, where it's the most he's talked about the show since they announced it, because as of this recording, they're filming it right
Yep.
now.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, Murawski's on
Murawski's
his way
there.
moving there.
Yeah.
New Zealand.
But in this interview, they're just like, "Why? So why are you doing Evil Dead as a show?" And he's like, "Because you guys will not leave me alone." He's like, "Look, I go to conventions. Sam and Rob don't, and I tell them, listen, guys, they will not leave me alone. We got to do something about this." So we say, "Great, let's make a movie." We do a movie. What do you guys do? We want Ash. We want Sam Raimi. So it was kind of like saying how the remake did well, but apparently everybody wants them to get back to what they do best. And I don't know, the way he described it and the way he was talking about it, I don't know if it's because he's just old curmudgeon Bruce Campbell now, but I'm actually really excited about it. Like, the interview ended essentially with him saying, like, yeah, it sounded like a good idea. They're like, "Oh, do a show." We'll do it. He's like, and now, like, the nightmare is I got to actually go through with this thing. he's like, I don't know if I'm going to survive. Like,
I'm hearing really good things about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to
Really,
imagine him re-exploring that character now, because last time we saw him, he was really good, handsome and like still pretty fit, but he's
Yeah.
in a video. He's in the S-Mart at the end, and so now he's like a totally different human.
Yeah.
But it's like, and he's always going to be funny. That's never in question.
Well, yeah,
but-
and they asked him, they're like, so do you think you'll be able to just jump right back into Ash? And he's like, I'll be damned. He's like, it's been since as long as I've been married, which is 24 years. He's like, I have no
24
clue.
years.
Yeah, he's
That's
like, all I know is
time.
that they better find a better way for me to wear that stupid chainsaw. Better not have any tubes or any stupid nonsense. Better just go. You got to work that out before I show up. So I'm really excited about it.
Do you know? Does anyone know if it's going to just take place after Army? Like, you know, 20? It has nothing to do with the remake.
It's
at all.
real.
No.
It's a real
It just
time.
picks right up.
Picks up from Army
up,
Darkness.
Wow.
Picks up many years after. But my hope is as a Evil Dead and Army of Darkness fan is that you've read the comic books, right?
Yeah.
Like the comic books were so on the nose and trying to like every issue it was like they were just emulating what was on the like in the movies. It was like, oh, we need this line, we need to throw this line, and it's him being a doofus and blah blah blah. Like I think the Army of Darkness Evil Dead franchise fans are owed some new material to fucking
not the
latch
same
on
one
to.
there, yeah.
Give me some new one-liners.
You know what? I don't think
Yeah.
Raimi's capable of being generic.
Yeah, that's
I think
the thing.
Raimi's going to come back and do something fresh.
Give me some new stuff.
Yeah, they will. Between
Who's
him
writing
and
it? Do
him,
you know? Anyone
well,
that
him and
writes
his
it?
brother.
Team.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know him
That's
and his
great.
brother like at least were writing it. Yeah, it's a whole
they
team.
wrote a pilot.
Do you think are any of the fake chimps writing?
I'm sure.
Probably. No,
That's cool.
I'm stoked. Yeah, I can't imagine Raimi being like, yeah, let's put.
Yeah.
That was my biggest problem with the comics is I felt like nobody could get Ash right writing wise. Like they couldn't write Ash right. They would just have him
They were
say the
just
one-liners.
emulating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was only one I remember. I think there was a Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Where they obviously put Ash in the Marvel universe where everybody gets zombified, and the only Ash-like thing I remember was like one issue ended. It was the end of issue 2 with like Doctor Doom. Like they go to his lair, and then the very first page of the next issue was Doctor Doom like holding him up. And he's like, if you ever refer to me as C-3PO, metalhead, so and so, he almost said this again. He's like, I will crush you for your insolence or whatever. And I'm like, that's Ash.
Yeah, that's Ash.
Like,
Yeah.
So that's like the one only moment I've ever seen in the comics where they actually like got him right.
Yeah.
I
don't know. When I saw that artwork that showed up last week, it warmed my heart. I was just
excited.
like, God damn it. That's
why I wasn't that surprised when the Twin Peaks stuff happened, because I'm like, too much of a good thing. Evil Dead, Blade Runner, X-Files. It's like we're getting everything we ever wanted.
No.
And it's like one thing falls through.
away.
Like, all right, well, it's the percentages.
That's to be determined still.
Yeah,
So we'll see about
that's
that.
still debatable.
I would say it's probably just a great bargaining. It's just a bargaining, It's still.
Would someone just bring back Monsters in My Pocket and Mad Balls, please?
Yeah.
Mad Balls.
I
for
still
sure.
Balls were
have
crazy. I remember
all
that.
of my old monsters
Yeah.
in my pocket. I kept every single one.
I will dedicate an episode if you send us a Mad Ball. Whoever you are.
Wait a minute. Not these guys. Send me the Mad Ball.
Well, guys, they
extras.
made Mad Balls again, and they did the same
Oh, really?
ones as the original series, where it's like Oculus
Really?
Absorbus.
Yeah,
And
that's
how
pretty
the
cool.
fuck do Screaming Mimi? How do I remember all their names?
Yeah, Screaming Mimi. That's the one.
That's
I
the
remember.
I
baseball.
had the football one.
There was a good comic book I think
I
Marvel
had-
put out of Mad
Yeah.
Balls.
And there was also a cheap knockoff that
There
I
was,
had
yeah.
called Spitballs. And they
Spitballs.
worked. I had all of them too.
All right, let's get on point here. We got some
I
topics
think
to tackle.
this is point. I think this is the point.
It's so point, guys.
Now, here I've got a question. One question, which is just: are you, with your time, are you even allowed? Could you be part of a podcast permanently, or is your time demands just so intense that you? Yeah.
No. I mean, like honestly, my time is really interesting now because even when I think I have a weekend, I really don't have a weekend because the process is like the weeks are dedicated to meetings and screenings and stuff like that, and occasionally I'll get a couple scripts read, but then when the weekend comes, it's like, okay, I got to catch up on all of this stuff I need to read. And that's like a big part of the process. I finally get to read again because I didn't read even when I was working for Shock. I was too busy writing news and seeing movies, so I never got to read. This time it's like, oh no, you should read this book, but I'm like cramming books,
Yeah,
like,
properties.
Yeah. And for scripts, it's like I've got it down to a science of how fast I can read stuff and get through it and see what's good and what's not. But
How does it work
time
if
is
you're
different.
blown away? If you read a book or how much trust does, and of course they have a pipeline of all sorts of projects they've probably been working on years before you even join the company. But if you're just blown away by something, can you just kind of pitch it to them straight?
Make a phone call.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well,
That's
not
cool.
to make a phone call to like the people who own it, but just
Yeah.
I go to Jason and go, dude,
Yeah.
this is fucking amazing.
Because you're the horror guy there, right?
I am. I have multiple nicknames. Today was King of the Internet.
King of the internet.
Yeah. King of the Internet. It was like Ryan knows the internet. He's king. King of the internet. And then Blogosphere is another one.
Hail to the king, baby.
There you go. Tied
And then, horror nerd or whatever. But I did a panel recently at CAA with the whole team, and they were introduced, and they were like, and here's Ryan. He's our requisite horror nerd. He knows everything about genre. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then Robert Ben Garant, who was the guy who hosted it, he was like, so do they come to you and like ask you about facts and things like that? And I'm like, yeah. But the thing is that sometimes it doesn't matter. Like I'll always be in the room and kind of pipe up and go, they kind of made this movie, and it doesn't really matter. Right. It doesn't. None of that matters. Mm-hmm. What matters is the project itself and its strength and whether it holds up.
That's really good to know, because so many people will say like, I had this idea for a script, but then I realized it was The Sentinel.
Oh, no, totally, yeah.
And, that these films had been made before. And,
it doesn't matter.
That happens a lot with genre folks.
I think if you have a confidence in that specific telling of it or that story, then it shouldn't matter if it's similar to something else.
Do other people there, even though you're the horror guy, do other people there have like firm taste? Like, does Jason have his own taste in genre stuff, that what he likes and doesn't like, or that he would push?
I don't know.
Okay. You have yet to explore?
You get to explore.
Like he only likes animal attack movies, but fuck slashers.
Yeah, Jason just likes good movies.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Well, we have a whole bunch of people on our Facebook that chimed in, and I know that you put a call out on Twitter as well.
Oh, yeah.
So
we have questions too, right?
I don't know if I got.
We have topics.
These are things that we could all tackle. But right off the bat, just because this is kind of fun, and I think I know the answers to this, but I'm not sure. Dennis Atherton, who's very vocal on our Facebook page, he knows the films that we love. He wants to know what's Ryan's favorite movie that he grew up with. What's his version of Evil Dead 2 Possession and Exploitation?
Can we try to answer his at least
Yeah,
one?
yeah. No, go ahead.
What is his favorite?
I know at least
knows.
one.
Rob knows.
I know at least Fright Night.
Yep.
Either Fright Night or The Beyond. It's going to be.
I was going to go
the
Beyond.
Okay, well, it's Tattoo,
Yeah, Friday Night. No. Friday Night's the one. And then Friday Night was my, And then Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay. No, Friday Night 2.
No. I mean, like, in terms of, like, movies, the question is, like, what shaped? Yeah. No, totally. It was, like, Nightmare on Elm Street and I wouldn't even say specifically Nightmare on Elm Street. I would just say Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
We all grew up on Freddy, not Nightmare. You're right.
No,
it's just the idea of
he's
him.
the omnipresent, part of everybody's childhood. It wasn't just like, oh, yeah, because I realized when I was like, when I look back at my childhood and I go, oh yeah, I was drawing this like one thing and I thought it was Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street. No, he was wearing a fucking trench coat and he was doing promotional stills for Nightmare 3. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a Freddy Krueger.
Do you remember
really
the first time seeing 2? I'm always interested in other people there. No, because the first time I saw 2, I knew something was wrong with it.
See, I
it
was
was
so
one of those
young.
movies I'm like, there's something wrong with this movie. Like
any of it, because
No,
I
of
was
course
so
not.
young.
Yeah, where are we going?
well, not the subtext, not the gay stuff, more just like that. It just doesn't feel like the
felt
last
weird,
one.
yeah.
It didn't feel
felt
like,
weird.
and I still liked it because it was Freddy, but I just remember that feeling of watching that film for the first time.
I think because I saw 1 and 2 back to back because I think 3 had just come out when my cousins were scarring me by making me watch these movies. So we watched 1 and I knew it was amazing. And I think like when you're so young and impressionable, you're seeing so many things that are just nightmare inducing that they just showed me 2 and I was like, that's just even more fucked up shit
it's disturbing.
that my little mind can't comprehend.
Yeah.
It wasn't until later that you pick up that stuff.
Well, it's interesting. You know what? It's like I kind of break things down into like your age range.
Yeah.
So like in like elementary school to middle school, it was like Fright Night and Nightmare on Elm Street. High school, it was all about the Romero Dead trilogy.
Yeah.
All about it. Like, I mean, I knew I'd seen Nightmare on Elm Street. Night of the Living Dead. I saw Night of the Living Dead, and then it wasn't until high school that I saw Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead back to back, and my dad showed them to me. And suddenly I got really sad about life because those
you
movies.
were 16, and that's what you do when you're 16.
Yeah, you're 16, but you're also, those movies are incredibly sad at the very end because they're super grim movies because it's like, oh my God, this is it for the rest of the world.
And
like,
yet Walking Dead's doing that exact tone, and it's the biggest thing on TV. It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
It's the same tone. They've bottled that exact feeling of the, you know what I mean?
No,
it's just
totally.
so unusual.
My high school
They're very
was
Day of the Dead,
all
I feel.
Yeah,
Walking
Argento
Dead.
big time.
Very Day of the
Yeah.
Dead. What's
yeah,
that?
like when I hit like 15, 16, that's when I first saw Suspiria. And at that point, I could not get enough Argento and Fulci in any capacity. And that was my
that was
high
college
school.
for me.
Yeah.
That was college.
Yeah, why you have a Beyond tattoo, so why that?
Well, the real story is.
Oh, the real story.
Well, no. There's two stories. One, I'm a big fan of The Beyond. Two, so I was drunk one night on Valentine's Day, and I was with an ex that you had known. And so Nikki was like, you should get another tattoo that balances you out because you've got the Frankenstein one on one wrist and you need something on the other wrist. And then I just so happened to be looking through my Fulci coffee table book, and I flipped to the last page, and there was the book of Ebon on the back, the symbol. And I was like, I'm going to get that. And off we went to Hollywood, and I got it tattooed. And then I was like, fuck, man, I really love Fulci, as I'm feeling the pain of it. And but no. I Fulci, because I feel like the formative years are like, elementary school, middle school, obviously. College was when I started getting exposed to Argento and Fulci. And Fulci, as much as I like the artistry of Argento, Fulci just was like fucking renegade maniac, crazy man. He was like channeling what Argento was, but he was like, fuck it. Yeah. I don't want like, you don't make any sense. I'm not going to make a lick of sense.
He's like Elmer Fudd.
He's like the pure
with your brain.
He's like Freud. There's something coming out that just like I don't even worry about story.
When we saw the Beyond, that was no more apparent to me. Like I hadn't seen the Beyond in like 10 years at that point. So rewatching it again, because I don't like the movies I absolutely love. I don't like rewatching them to the point where I'm like I have memorized them. Fright Nights being a rare exception, Return of the Living Dead being a rare exception, and Evil Dead being a rare or Evil Dead 2. But the Beyond, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, I try to like space it out, Black Christmas. And so it's been a long time since I saw the Beyond. Not 10 years, but yeah, I'm like sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, none of this makes a lick of sense. Like, and it's interesting because working for Blumhouse now, I feel like Neo in the Matrix, where like they jack in and they're like, I know Kung Fu. It's like all of a sudden my brain is now rewired into things that I'm specifically watching for when I watch a movie and things that work.
This?
No, just
a
good
trailer?
No, not at all. No, It's the mechanics of a story. It's telling a story, the mechanics of a character arc, the mechanics of a story. Because I mean, this is all stuff that I came out to California knowing, because I went to film school and I wanted to be a screenwriter. But things have evolved in storytelling and cinema over the last 15 years so crazily. So like rewatching stuff, I'm like watching Beyond. I'm like, oh my God, this is just nightmare material and dream logic and all of this stuff, and none of it. Why the fuck is this character doing this? Whatever.
But
I love it all.
All his films are right. All
of them. Yeah. But so that's
City
why
of the Living Dead. I mean, things like that. Like,
both of those movies are incredibly sad films too. Yeah. I mean, like I was listening to the soundtrack this morning, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a really sad theme. With the Beyond, dude, they're running through a fucking landscape with just there's like this moaning and there's the atmosphere and the music's coming and swelling, and it's just like they're all fucked. Everybody's fucked.
Water, it's all flooded.
Yeah. And then the City of the Living Dead. Again, it's just like nightmare material and completely sad, like totally sad.
Priest hanging himself.
Yeah,
Priest hanging himself. It's just super grim, and I love that.
That's why I got this tattoo of him in Cat in the Brain on my shirt. It's actually Elmer Fudd, but I thought it was.
So it just
such a
dawned
wacky
on me,
movie.
Rob, do you have any tattoos?
No. Not at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
think you
it.
might be the only person I knew who has.
Well,
no
I
tattoos.
almost went tattoo free, but
it was one of those
just
things
happened.
where, like, I didn't want to just be like, oh, I got like a flower because it was cool. Like, I really thought long and hard about what I'd want it to be, and I finally decided on something in high school. But at that point, everybody was getting tattoos. Mm-hmm. So my thing was like, well, the only way to be different is to not get one now, because that's what everybody does.
I'm probably going to go get something new like later this summer.
Yeah,
I'm going to go treat yourself. I'm going to be like, I'm going to Pennsylvania
because this is marked once. Skateboard.
I'm honestly
He'll have ice too.
Oh God, I'm honestly trying to wait. There's this great guy, and I suggest everybody follows him on Instagram, Paul Acker. Paul Acker Tattoo out of Pennsylvania. This guy is fucking off the chain, and his stuff is so amazing. And he's my friend on Facebook and on Instagram, and I'm like, dude, I'm coming for you. Like, and when I come out there, like, we're going to get it all done in like at least, 2 sittings. Like, I'm out there on my dime, and then you're going to hook me up with something great. And it's either going to be Jason Voorhees or Fright Night. It's going to be something. I don't know which one, but I want it like right here so everybody could see. I want it like.
You should do Jason Voorhees, but found footage tattoo. Like, so there should be a camera looking at
like a camcorder screen.
Yeah, and you can even have David Brucker's back.
I was actually thinking Jason Voorhees versus Jerry Dandridge, and it's just the two of them doing it.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, well, we answered that question.
Well, I mean, this is a brief one from
Paul
our friend.
Acker is nice. I like that.
Yeah, that's
really good.
his
It's
name
very
is
realist.
right.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, the guy's nuts.
See, I can never decide what to get. That's my biggest problem. Like all of the tattoos I got like in a year period, and some of them were like yours, where I was like, yeah, I've been drinking. You know what I need? I need the symbol for Leviathan on my thigh.
Super quick question. Steve Johnson. Steve Johnson is a friend of ours on here. He was curious, because Fright Night is your favorite film, which you just mentioned, your feelings on the Twilight Time release, the transfer special feature. What do you think of it being your favorite? And obviously we're biased because we both worked on it.
Totally biased, but honestly, I haven't referred to checking things out during my own personal time. I haven't even cracked open that Blu-ray yet.
Wow,
I have not.
Well, it's great. You're gonna love it.
I can't wait.
Yes,
and you can also buy another version of that costs way more. That has another director attached, right?
No,
no,
not at all. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
This is an interesting topic that Trevor Snyder brought up. Let me see if I can condense it. He's talking about how he's been thinking a lot about how the current crop of horror directors, people like Adam Wingard, Neil Marshall, Mikkel Roth, Christopher Smith, have done non-horror projects, or at least projects that are on the fringe. He's referencing things like The Guest and Knock Knock, and they've had success with them and less fan backlash than sometimes met with the classic horror directors when they try to branch out. So he's asking, in general, would you agree that the genre doesn't pigeonhole directors as much as it used to? And if so, why? Is it simply because most of them have been smart enough to make this move out of the genre early in their career? I guess that's kind of like
no. Well, I mean, like
Roth jokes over here.
So
yeah, way to pay attention.
So no, the question
to Trevor, guys.
So the question is why aren't directors being more pigeonholed like they used to be back in the 80s and 90s?
Yeah, I would guess like a guy like Carpenter who tried very hard to get out of being
because those guys were doing stuff on studio dime. These guys are doing stuff on independent dime, so that means they have more control and they're able to make better decisions about the films that they make. I mean, like. Adam Wingard was able to do You're Next. It got picked up by Lionsgate, but then he made a different move with the same same producing team who work on an independent means, and he was able to make The Guest.
Yeah.
I don't know if Knock Knock is exactly a success yet because it hasn't come out. But
is that the one by the Walking Dead writer? No.
No, that's Eli Roth's movie.
Keanu Reeves, right?
And Eli Roth. And I saw it at Sundance. At Sundance, yeah, Sundance. And it's not a hardcore horror film, but it has horror elements to it.
I heard some less than sparkling reviews of it.
No, I can't comment.
Do his films still come out?
Huh?
Eli Roth, because he used to direct movies and still makes them.
You were just being cruel.
I still want him to come on the show.
He'll probably come in.
Good luck to that.
I like moments in his movies.
Maybe you should refer to him as like Bang Brother or something.
he probably is
Becca or whatever.
Probably been on Bang
Brothers. But yeah, that's
sponsor us.
How many beers have you had over there?
I'm actually totally sober.
What's the rest of the box?
I'm legit sober.
That's my answer to that. They're just able to take control of the films and the decisions they're making. Now, thus not making them, not pigeonholing them into those, into the horror genre.
Do you think those same directors would make? I've always thought when they were doing these remakes, Platinum Dunes, that those directors would be the ones I would want to hire. Like I'd like to see a Wingard, Friday 13th. I'd like to see a Ty West, something just because it would at least be unique.
And those guys are probably getting those offers.
Yeah,
those guys are probably being offered the Texas Chainsaws and the Friday the 13th, and they're probably turning them down because they want to go and do something different, or they're being offered deals or creative limitations that they don't want to adhere to. So,
who's making Insidious 4? No? Okay.
Don't get me in trouble for being on here.
There's more beer in the hallway. Oh, wait, I brought it in.
There's a
it's
whole
right
bag
there.
of beer right here.
Help yourself to the birthday beer.
You may not know the answer to this, and I actually tried to Shazam it earlier.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not that smart, I guess. Justin LaFleur wants to know the song in the Town That Dreaded Sundown trailer.
Justin, I meant to look for it today for you, buddy, and I know the exact people to ask.
Well,
He
you
knows
text them right
people.
now.
I will.
Get on that,
Hopefully
Ryan.
by the end of this episode, we'll
Make
have
a
that
call,
answer.
get the info.
I will find out tomorrow, and I will try to respond via the Facebook page.
Well, I mean, this is interesting too. A few people, obviously, because you haven't been on the air for several weeks, your opinions on things like It Follows and the current crop of like these new movies that are constantly getting like, oh, this is the new trend in horror. But I'm curious, from your perspective and from the people at Blumhouse, how do they look at something like It Follows, which it's a weird case because obviously we all have mixed feelings on it. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece.
But I think it's interesting.
It's okay.
The way, but I think it's interesting that everybody's talking about it. I think it's interesting the way they've rolled it out. And I mean, but it's weird because, of course, when it came out, the first articles are, it's a bomb. And then the next week, it opened even more.
They all rescinded that shit.
So how does that affect how you guys look at the genre when you see a film like that and what it's doing?
I don't know if it affects. I don't think
it's good for you guys, though, right?
No. Every time a horror film does great, it's
keeps
great
the
for
genre
us.
going.
But in terms of, because I'm the development guy there for sure. I mean, like I look at obviously the trends and stuff. Anything that pushes the boundaries in terms of creativity is always a good thing. It Follows had an interesting take on, kind of a formula we've seen so many times before. Babadook had an interesting take on that kind of stuff.
And they're directed movies, not just found footage, not just, they feel very put together by someone.
Right,
which I think is
exactly.
different.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, those movies getting good buzz, I mean, it's always great for us because then, what it does? It allows me to go into the office and go, look at this.
Yeah.
This is what's working right now. And we should not turn our backs on these kinds of projects.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unusual, really sexual, like really sexual.
Yeah.
It's not kind of, Larry Clark type characters, which is very art house.
Yeah.
So for a movie that has all these weird strands going for it and the kind of a Final Destination setup, it's really surprising that it would be popular. Like when I saw Babadook, I was like, somebody should be making this a major hit. Like I just felt like that could have been a big hit. When I saw It Follows, I was like, oh, when I started hearing it's going big, I was like, that's cool because this is kind of subversive. Like it's surprising.
I don't think
Babadook.
Babadook would have played very well on a wide platform.
Yeah.
I think It Follows definitely would play well on a wide platform, as we're seeing. I like It Follows a lot. I mean, I've seen it 3 times now. I think it's a really hot girlfriend who's got like flaws. Mm-hmm. The ending is flawed a little bit, but it's a really, really great movie.
And everyone who says that, like, oh, there's flaws or the rules are broken, I always turn to them and go, find me a film in the last 20 years, not flawed.
Well, that is someone who's not. The going, oh, it's flawed. That's somebody who's not strong in their own convictions of like the opinion of it, and that's what drives me nuts. Is like, if they go, oh, it's flawed, it's like, dude, every movie is flawed. You're just reaching for something because you're either against the movement because you just want to be against the movement, or you can't intellectually put together a reason why you don't like the movie.
See, I don't agree with that because I had gripes with it from the very moment we walked out of the theater.
Sure.
And I still say, it's repetitive.
If you're limited, it follows
it's
as
very
limited.
repetitive.
If you are unlimited, it follows as unlimited.
I told him that as we were walking to the parking garage when we saw it at AFI like 6 months ago. As we were walking to the garage, I was like, it was just, oh my God, it's here. Let's leave and go to this location. And the other thing that drove me crazy, and I think I mentioned this last week on the show, was that the characters in it were unreactive. Whereas if something was following you and coming towards you right now.
But you know what? Here's my argument. Have you hung out with teenagers today?
Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah,
if you teach young people, they're totally
But these were
different.
young people. These were like 20-something. She was just graduated. So let's assume she's like
she's not
19.
high school.
It's all high school stuff.
I thought she
was
just
not
graduated because she talked about how, when she was younger and now that she's an adult.
Yeah. No, she's not in high school.
She's definitely left high school because she was in community college.
But even 20-year-olds is the same thing.
Anyone younger than 25, and I'm sorry if you're listening, is going to react that way. That's just the way they are nowadays.
Instead of like the holy shit, something's following me, it was just like, here we cut to her depressed in a car as they travel to another.
But that's just a choice. That's a choice.
When they were in the car, they were going to see her dude.
They're in the car for like half the movie. Like 25% of the movie is driving.
Let me just say, I don't know about you, Ryan. I think you might be similar. Like, I see some of these movies now. I just want to feel fucking something feeling, man. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
like anything. And when I saw Babadook, there's certain movies in the last, even Insidious, where even if it's just a tingle up my spine of something that I used to feel
That
about
I
horror,
did get.
that's what I want.
Okay.
And I don't. And so when somebody like fucking Matthew Henry Holmes, if you're listening, when he starts going, plot hole this, I'm like, dude, I didn't even think about the fucking plot.
No.
I was just taking it and going, oh, this is cool.
And there were great scares.
And that's what I want from horror. I really want to feel that feeling that I had when I was young.
Can I get a
and
feeling?
It's very rare. Can I get an amen? Can I get a feeling? Can I get an amen?
No, I totally agree. And I want to jump on Christopher Jimenez's.
Yes, I was about to bring that up.
Yeah, because he was like talking about the sinful celluloid on Twitter, and he was a writer over at Shock, and he's a great guy. But he was like the overhyping of horror because he took a lot of shit because he was like the one to track around Babadook.
Yeah,
but he was talking about the overhyping of indie horror. Now and I laughed at that because I understand what he's getting at, because like Drew McQueenie at HitFix was like, man, now I really hate fucking It Follows because so many people were talking about it. And it's like, guys, this is all great for horror movies right now. People talking about a horror film is great for horror.
And getting excited about
something blowing up.
It's like not liking Pulp Fiction because everyone started liking it.
Yeah.
We all had that feeling a little bit a few years later,
and that's
but the reality
danger.
is it's fucking great.
And honestly, that's the danger of social media. It's like everyone comes out of a festival and I saw it first and it was great, and now that movie sucks now that everybody likes it.
That is a danger of social media. It's unfucking plug. And like go and enjoy life and get off of Twitter and get off of Facebook and stop reading everybody's like nonstop thoughts on a movie and just enjoy your own thoughts about film.
Have you yourself followed this advice?
Not a bit.
You know what's interesting? When I am in the office,
that I used to see with their phone out all the time.
Somebody,
We've all checked our phones several times through this podcast.
I'm looking at notes.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, in general.
No, but I'm not as drastically affected or easily affected by, Drew McQueen going, no, you shush. I'll chime in when I'm stepping up to defend something, but honestly, like Drew McQueen or anybody else who's like, would y'all stop talking about it? It's like, dude, just turn off Twitter.
Yeah. You don't have to read it. I don't.
Read it.
I never read Twitter.
It goes back to the same guy who's like, I don't want to see a prequel that follows or a sequel. Well, don't.
No.
Don't see it.
Don't pay for it. That's your way of protest. Don't pay for it.
Don't see it. Don't pay for it. Yeah. But I mean, listen, Babadook getting some buzz, awesome. It Follows getting some buzz, awesome.
As an industry insider now,
dude.
Oh my God.
I want to ask you a question about Babadook director Jennifer Kent. Even if Babadook doesn't, do you think she'll get some interesting offers as a director, because it's a very well made film?
And this is public knowledge. I mean, like I'm not blowing any kind of industry thing, but the first thing I said was like, I want to get Jennifer Kent in here. I want to get her in, but she's not interested in doing a horror film next.
Okay.
So,
which I also imagine David Robert Mitchell is going to be the same. I don't think he will make a horror film next.
That was one of the things that I think may have alienated the audience when we saw It Follows at AFI. Is he talked at the feedback and the
it was 2:20 in the morning.
Yeah, but he talked about how he didn't really watch a lot of horror and he didn't.
I've seen interviews where he said he's seen a lot of horror, like he liked a lot of horror.
You were there. I know that he definitely
it's also
said
not
something.
his first movie, just to be clear.
Yeah, he made an art house.
Yeah,
an
he's
art house
done some
film
art
that did
house.
really well.
But then I think somebody asked if he would do another horror, and he was like, "Nope, I just did one."
Well, look, and I'll go back. Hey, let me bring it back to a conversation that's very important, which is all the best horror films have been largely directed, besides Halloween and Nightmare, by guys who have only made 1 or 2 horror films.
Yep.
And they are just filmmakers. Like Polanski and all these filmmakers. Friedkin, they're, so to move around genres is just to experience different life. And then when you do make a genre film, it's because you have to make it. That should be the reason to make a horror film. You have to make
exactly.
A horror film.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, don't put all this pressure on these guys to like pump out another horror film, because it's like they might not be ready for it. Because then you put so much pressure on the filmmaker to give us another great horror film akin to Babadook and It Follows. They're never going to live up to it.
Yeah.
I would say
unless they've got like, an arsenal in their bag and they're like, I'm ready to go. I've got some really great ideas. But, don't force it on them. Right?
I feel like Wes is a product of that. I feel like Wes is the kind of director, let's say it had 10 years to make films like his One from the Heart and just other movies, that if he had ever decided, I feel like horror again, I feel like if he had that impulse, he'd fucking kill it. Because every 10 years he fucking reinvented the genre. But I feel like that being forced into that's where you get these, like, what's the werewolf one he made?
Curse.
You get just some of these movies that it's just because that's what people know you for, so you do that.
All right.
But I feel like inside these guys, they're very smart smart. You
You
know,
know, it's funny. I just read in Fangoria that he was supposed to do the Pulse remake,
oh really? I
and
didn't
then
hear
the
that.
Weinsteins pulled him off of that and put him on Cursed or something like that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, which would have been.
But we can champion because my trivia teammate is making a film with him and Dean Cundey right now, and that is fucking rad. Like, I'm really happy for them.
Wait,
it's fun.
what?
Nick from Not
Yeah,
Ashamed.
what's Nick doing?
They are shooting right now with Dean Cundey
I
as the
know.
DP. Wes Craven. It's called The Girl in the Photographs.
Oh,
It's
that
a really cool
project.
script, yeah. And they are in production right. He's probably listening because he listens to the show.
Right on.
He and
Nick,
they
your Instagram is
cast-
very titillating, to say the least.
Harold and Kumar
Yeah.
is the art house photo. When he wrote it, he was like, it's like a Vincent Gallo type art house guy. And I'm like, and then they cast Kumar. I'm like, that's and he was really excited because he was going so outside the box. So there's some fun stuff. I think it'll be interesting. But the fact that Dean Cundey and Wes Craven are together is pretty fucking cool. It's like,
that's pretty cool.
that's fun. And when it's someone you know who's achieving their dreams, and very similar to what you're doing right now, I think, Ryan, like a lot of us who are like, that's just cool. You're doing something that actually you deserve it. You worked really hard. It's not just somebody who came out here and talked a lot. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you also talked a lot, but I think it's cool.
Is Mike Williamson being serious? I'd
Oh,
like
God,
to
no,
know.
don't even ask it.
I mean,
Oh,
If it's
he's
Mike
talking.
Williams,
This is
then yeah,
his
being
first time.
serious.
First time filmmakers. He used references of Craven Carpenter.
your favorite movies by first-time directors who name their characters Raimi, Romero,
He's being a
Carpenter.
dick.
He's fucking with
being a
us.
dick.
Oh,
You know what? Not for nothing. No, I will say this though.
And also, he's kind of taking a pot shot at like Dave Parker, I believe, because
Oh, yeah,
Parker
yeah.
did
he?
Dead Hate the Living,
And
and I
Mendes.
believe.
Yeah.
Mike
And
also put all the names of all his friends.
So you're
When
making,
people
you're
do
making fun
that.
of a lot
Don't
of
be
your
a
friends,
dick, Mike.
pal.
because remember, like in
John Sayles did it in Howling. All those directors at the end, they're all named.
True.
or like in the Collector, the second one that came with the collection. I can't
Collection,
remember.
yeah,
Collection.
yeah.
Like it's called Hotel Argento.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Are they
mean,
making more of
that's
those?
so
God, how
Does
did
anyone
I-
know any more of those? No.
How did I forget about? I'm sorry. To go back to Saw 3D, the best thing about it is that Ryan and Brad are the opening guys, which is just
that's
totally
funny.
you.
Yeah, but Marcus and Patrick fucked up because we're fighting over a girl, which Brad and I never did. We always fought about trivial fucking
Website
things.
number.
I thought that the girl was the metaphor.
Oh, the metaphor for the internet?
horror news.
Internet.
horror website fame.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good laugh about that.
But no, I was gonna say, you know what? I kind of like Sheriff Romero on Bates Motel. So eat it, Mike.
Yeah.
There you go.
But he has got a point. Sometimes it can be really distracting. You know, it
Yeah,
is a
don't
shame.
do
Yeah,
that.
that's better.
Don't
than
do
not.
takes you
At
out
this
of it.
point,
It's a
it's
shame,
better
yeah.
not to. Let's see other topics.
What would our topics? 'Cause,
Like
yeah,
if we're trying to earn the goodwill of the horror community, don't do it.
I don't know because like Shaun of the Dead did it a couple of times.
but that's
and-
a good
Yeah,
comedy.
but you know, it's
Yeah,
like a
but-
weird. It's timing. Like
Yeah.
the timing of Shaun of
It's
the
not
Dead.
timing. It's
like
it's
we're coming
earning.
to get
It's,
you, Barbara, in that. I mean, that was enough
But
for
it's-
me
oh,
to
no,
like
that
be
was
like,
totally
okay,
fine.
they know what they're doing now.
Right.
The
Yeah.
pizza place being full cheese. Like,
Yeah.
there's tons of
no,
weird.
they earned
That's a good one.
They earned it through story and characters. If you have
Yes.
story and characters because you're just naming your characters Carpenter and Craven, and you're like, fuck
Lovecraft,
you,
or yeah,
come
yeah,
on.
yeah.
And I mean, it was kind of fun, like when Fred Decker did it in the towards the late '80s for
Oh,
Night of
yeah,
the Creeps
totally.
and stuff. There, you're like, oh wait, I think I know who he's
Yeah, and
referencing.
Karloff's gas station from Friday 6,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some good ones here and there. I have a couple topics that I wrote down.
yeah, let's tackle some shit.
And regarding everybody who tweeted me about Town of the Dreaded Sundown, I don't know when it's coming out on Blu-ray. I don't know the song in the trailer, but I'll find out for you guys.
What the hell, Ryan?
know.
Why did we even bother having you on?
I hope there's multiple cuts. I'd like to see what's deleted from it.
So in my office, if you go down, I go down the horror hallway, which is posters for Paranormal 2, Town of Dreaded Sundown,
The river.
Lords of,
The river.
No,
The river.
no. Lords,
Damn
of,
it.
Lords of Salem. But the original poster that Rob Zombie created, which is like all painted and fucking weird and shit.
Oh, cool.
And then right outside my door, I had the poster for a Ouija in the hallway and Ascension. And then Ouija got moved, and then they put the Lazarus Effect. But I might just go and take the Town of Dreaded Sundown poster and put it outside my door.
Much cooler, much cooler.
How come that one didn't get a... Can you even talk about that?
Why didn't get a-
Why
I mean,
didn't get a larger
Which
spread
one, Lazarus?
release? No, Tom and
Town
Jerry.
of
Dreaded Sundown. I don't think you were
Got
there.
relatively good feedback.
Well, I mean, like when I
weren't
was programming it for the Beyond Fest, my understanding was the studio was kind of lukewarm on it.
yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I thought it was a pretty cool remake.
I really liked
I
it.
like it. Yeah.
Sometimes studios look down at the statistics of things, and it's like, is it going to be worth paying the amount of money it's going to cost to put this in 1,200 theaters, whatever? I feel like it would have. I feel like it might have done all right.
Yeah.
But
You know what's funny
It
about that
was
movie
kind of
is
a cool story.
because we're all horror fans, we take for granted that like we've all seen The Town That Dreaded Sunday. I wonder outside of that bubble of people who've ever heard of that movie if it just means nothing. If you're watching a remake where it's all meta about a movie that probably 90% of the universe have never even heard
See,
of.
that's why I said I don't know if you could do a tourist trap remake because outside of like diehard horror fans,
No,
who
you
know
can't.
it,
No, you can. But what he's saying is the plot of
the plot of
hinges
it
on the
relies
meta.
on the
Hinges
original
on the
movie.
original,
You're right.
Which as a
Okay.
horror fan, we think that's cool, but outside of that, that's a pretty obscure movie. It's like
It is.
Legend of Boggy Creek. No one's seen Legend of Boggy
And
Creek.
no offense to the original Town That Dreaded Sundown, it's not exactly the most great
It's like 5 horror scenes
film.
strapped around some weird comedy.
and a lot of trumpet playing.
Yeah.
But I feel like you could watch
So-
the remake and be like, "Wait, that's a real movie they're talking about." Like,
Yeah.
not even know, like, assuming they just made it up
But
for
it's
the
set in
remake.
Texas, right? Not Arkansas, correct?
It's totally Arkansas.
Texarkana.
Fuckers.
Okay, so
Still call on that trivia question many moons ago.
Arkansas.
well, I wanted to start with. I had a couple of topics penned out, but the format wars, as I call it, because we've been talking about it for the last several weeks in terms of how we all watch movies and how we find it. And I'm just curious because Becca always talks about seeing things on VOD, but you see them on Amazon.
I do Amazon or iTunes, or I also have.
I don't know how
Vudu.
you do Amazon because that means
Oh
you
my
just
God.
watch it on your computer, right?
No,
No,
mine goes through my
there's an
television.
Amazon app on the TV.
I have
Really?
a Samsung
I haven't
Smart
seen
TV,
that.
and so it just goes straight through. And I can search on my television, and
That's
it's
cool.
actually easier on my Samsung television. It's easier to toggle through what's available on Amazon than the Netflix setup for Samsung is. So I'm more prone to watch things on Amazon just because I can look through it more quickly. So like
Yeah.
the stuff on Amazon Prime, I've seen it all just because it's easier for me to get through than the Netflix Instant. However, the setup is. I also have Vudu
Yeah, I
that
have
I
that
use
too.
occasionally, but not as much as Amazon. That's like my go-to one.
Well, I mean, for me, I'm still an advocate for physical media because I'm a nerd and I'm a collector. But I think it's come a long way in the last couple of years, and now like I have a really nice TV setup and all that stuff. But all the apps are available on there, so I can get Amazon, I can get Vudu, I can get Netflix, I can get all those things on my TV, and that's the way I want to watch it. The problem I have is, I'll give you an example. I rented Lost Soul because of the last episode we did on Amazon, but what really frustrates me is, you rent it, you pay the $8 or whatever it is for your 48 hours, and it says it's HD, but because of your connection or whatever the case is, I watched 38 minutes of it in SD. Like, it just didn't look good. And then somewhere around the 40-minute mark, it finally was like, oh, now it's back on track. And I'm just kind of like, you know what? This is why I'll never trust streaming, because streaming never works for me 100% of the time. However, I could put in a nice Blu-ray and it will always look and sound pristine every single time.
See, I don't have problems with Amazon for streaming. They're always great, but when I try to stream movies through Netflix, that's when I get the pixelization.
Yeah,
Or,
Netflix is a problem.
I have Daily Burn, which has nothing to do with horror. It's all like, it's where I do my yoga every morning. But that streams like shit on my television. I don't even know what the difference is between them. But
I bounce between Blu-ray and my iTunes library. I'll go through my Apple TV, and I'll, like last night I bought Spring because it was $9.99
on iTunes.
On iTunes, it was
and then you can watch on your
$9.99
TV through Apple.
right through Apple. I get all special features. I get all these little
great.
things, and I started watching it last night. Now, beyond the load time, which had me a little bit concerned because I was sitting there, I'm like, play. Okay, play anytime now, and it took 30 seconds, but it finally loaded all
do you guys
everything.
have your shit hardwired? Or are you using like a Wi-Fi connection? Because I have everything hardwired so that I don't have
Yeah, I
like low
have
See, that's the thing.
Wi-Fi.
No, just Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Oh, see, that was like one of my major things because we rebuilt the house. And when I did, I ran an HDMI cable through the wall so I could hardwire
smart.
into the
Yeah, that
television.
makes logical sense. I think we're just so used to everything being Wi-Fi that I didn't even think about hardwire.
I walk,
And
into,
I
any,
still-
I walk
but-
into any environment and I'm like, Wi-Fi me.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
see,
Connect me.
even hardwired, I still struggle with Netflix. Like I still have a load time for Netflix, but hardwired, Amazon and iTunes are instant for me.
I think Netflix does it on purpose. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really have that many problems with Netflix at all. I mean, I don't know if it's because of where my Wi-Fi is positioned, but that's usually, here's the thing. That's when a new movie comes out or we start hearing about a new movie. I think, and a lot of fans say, because when we talked about Lost Soul, we posted the thing, and someone's like, "Is it on Netflix yet?" And it's like, "No, it's on VOD."
Yeah.
I think people are just so used to waiting for something to pop up on Netflix, and I'm guilty of that too.
It's also free, and that's a big.
It's not free. You're paying
Still,
$7.99 a
it's not.
month.
But you feel like it's free.
I still have my DVD service through Netflix. I mean, like that's how I see a lot, like Southland Tales. I got the DVD for that because I don't know. I still have my DVD service. I love
Netflix
it.
is free.
I think that the greatest
Ryan's not lying to you.
the greatest trick Netflix ever pulled was to make you believe that you're getting free service.
Yeah.
Okay, let's rephrase.
I
It's
think I
much
always
cheaper
think of
than
Hulu.
buying things on it because $8 is your whole month.
Yeah, for everything that's on there.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But it's at their whim. I mean, like this is what I like about going on iTunes and going on the Apple store and stuff like that. It's like I'll go on there, I'll log in, I'll go, oh look, Ryan Gosling's Lost River is already available to buy or to rent, and I can check it. It is.
No,
It totally is.
Oh my god.
No, I'm
so shocked by that.
and I'm super stoked
Yeah,
to
I
see
really
this
wanna
movie.
see it.
I
I'm
am
so
so
curious about
like
it.
Dead Man's
Wow.
Bones,
I
one
did
of my
not
favorite
know
bands
that
now.
was already
and-
out.
But this is how I end up seeing a lot is I pay really close attention when they do the now in theaters thing. So like I remember I
Yeah.
saw Nurse 3D on the day that it premiered in the theater. I didn't see it in 3D because I wasn't.
Which one? Amazon?
I
or
saw it on
iTunes?
Amazon.
Okay.
But a lot of them do that. And I know like right now it's not one that I want to see, but Lionsgate put Nightlight up on Amazon, but it's like the same day
Oh,
in
really?
theaters. Yeah, Nightlight's already
well,
up
I
on
found
Amazon.
out. So Amazon is going to have Lost River on Friday.
Yeah.
Or as by the time you listen to this. My dad called me and he said Monsters, the new Monsters movie.
It's already on Amazon.
It's on Amazon right
It's
now?
already on Amazon. I saw
It's
it
on
last night.
DirecTV as well. So it's like you get these like kind of little sneak peeks. And that's, I mean, honestly, like if I wanted to watch something like Godzilla or something that like Prom Night or Tourist Trap, I don't know why I keep saying
Terror Trap.
Terror Train. Because I got my surround hooked up to the Blu-ray player, so I'll listen to the stuff and enjoy it that way.
And
Otherwise,
no matter what version of Prom Night is on Netflix, that Synapse Blu-ray is going to be the best looking freaking thing. Yeah.
However, I would love to, and I'm actively looking into getting a new television for a living room, but take
3D
my own
TV.
to
I'll help you out.
But getting a VHS player, damn it! I don't know why. I've just been jonesing to just get a VHS player and just watch stuff.
That's going back a few
See, I have
steps.
3 VHS players. I feel so lame now. I
know
have
what?
one in my.
I'll buy one off you.
No one ever
$15.
talks about that, the VHS thing, unfortunately, because TVs are getting so big. VHS looks that much shittier.
Yeah.
It's a real bummer because now you put in your VHS, you're all excited, and then you're like, oh, fuck, it's being expanded.
Even
It looks like
DVD
crap.
now to me. DVD doesn't look nearly
No,
as good on my
DVD doesn't
TV, and
look
you're kind
very
of like,
good
oh,
anymore.
that sucks. And then it immediately makes me
Well,
go,
not all
"Oh, I have a
DVDs.
Blu-ray."
Like sometimes they've taken it's like a
Oh, yeah.
Blu-ray, like Mary Butcher Baker or whatever. Looked
Yeah.
like a Blu-ray to me. But
Yeah.
old DVDs.
For me,
you're right.
VHS is just like listening to the records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
like
it's
I just
good
want to do it
stuff.
for fun. But I mean, although the album collection and the record
Well, there's some good
obsession
movies
has
that are
become.
still out of print.
Yeah, I
otherwise,
have
you
a
know?
whole stack of VHS tapes that will never make it anywhere else, most
Yeah.
likely.
Those are the VHS I keep, are the ones that there's no
That's
way
the
anyone's
only
ever
way
going to
I
put them
keep
out.
them.
I find with Netflix that it's only good for horror. It's only good for like some new stuff that's come out. When I go back to their back catalog, man, it's just like brutal. I can spend an hour and just go, I'm going back to sleep.
See,
or
I
I'm
don't
gonna.
get, I don't get
I
that at
struggle
all
to find
because
stuff.
there's tons of stuff.
I just
Tons
can
of
never
stuff.
find anything I want
But
to
you know
watch.
what it is? Again, I'm a huge, I love Korean cinema. I love
Mm-hmm.
documentaries. And it's like, I remember when I worked at Amoeba and I'd go through the Asian cinema section and say, oh, that's interesting. That's new. I'd go on there and every one of those titles is on Netflix. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like Bedeviled or,
That's
for
a
a while.
tough movie to get through.
It's a good one though.
Bedeviled is intense.
Brutal. But I mean, like a lot of the weirder stuff that I like is always on there. But I agree with you. It's funny because now we're in a weird position where, obviously Netflix, iTunes, and Amazon and Hulu. I have a Hulu Plus account now, which is fantastic.
How much is that?
I think it's under
14.
10. It's under. I thought it was like $10 a month or something like that. But what's great about it is not only do you get access to pretty much all the television shows that are out there now, you get access to the full Criterion library. And that's huge.
Yeah, that is big. That's
like
pretty
right
big.
now, they already have The Brood in HD.
Do they put,
which has not been put out on disc.
They
Oh,
used
wow.
to have,
Yeah, no,
did
yeah.
they go
That
over to
was-
Netflix? Because they used to all be on Hulu.
What's that?
No, it's on
The
Hulu. He's
Criterion.
talking
Oh, you
about
are talking about
so
Hulu.
is
Yeah, that
Criterion is
love
all
that.
on Hulu.
It is wonderful.
All of
The
it.
Brood I bought on
iTunes.
On
probably.
iTunes.
Yeah. But the physical disc has not come out yet, but it's on iTunes and it's on Hulu and stuff.
What's the
So-
deal with that? Aren't they supposed to put? I mean, they put out scanners finally.
Yeah,
so.
they're going to get to
What
it.
they should just
actually.
do is take the artwork from the Mondo record
Yep.
Yes.
and make a print of that Mondo, Justin, please, and then put it on the Blu-ray because it's so good.
I don't know if it's a
I'm
features
obsessed
thing or
with that
what.
art.
Because the Scanners Blu-ray had some pretty good features on it, including one of Cronenberg's first ever films that he ever did. So maybe it's one of those things trying to iron out those details. But Hulu's good for TV. Netflix, there's a few of these little like upstart horror companies. Like there's one called Screambox that I know a few people from FearNet went over to. There's a few that are trying to get off the ground, and the problem is it's great that they have all these catalogs like of Full Moon titles and the original Hellraiser and stuff, but for us, who cares? Like, why would I want to pay $5 for that? What they really need is they need to get exclusivity to those Draft House titles, to the Blue Underground stuff, to Grindhouse releasing. Like, if they get somebody's library, like, then I'd be more inclined to be like, that's worth $5 a month, because then instead of spending $30 per title on Blu-ray, at least I could see them all.
Yeah, there's a
That's
lot
what
I
the
want to
Full
watch and
Moon
I'll
did,
buy.
because Full Moon, I have most of the Full Moon movies, the ones that I would watch, already on DVD or Blu-ray. But they also have the Something Weird library, which, if anything,
That's
would get
really
me
hard to
there.
find.
And Blue
And Blue Underground. So.
Yeah. If
No, I
your
mean that'd
tastes
be
cater to
great on
that.
Netflix. But then Netflix surprises you and suddenly, Starry Eyes and Babadook, and you're like, wow, that's quick.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
especially Babadook, I'm like, oh wow, that's
Housebound.
fast. Yeah,
Housebound,
Housebound. No, it's
yeah.
good
Yeah.
stuff. I love Netflix. It's just I feel like in the back catalog, I struggle to find anything.
See, that's
I can
right.
only watch The Club so many times.
Oh, I
Remember that
know.
one?
Yes.
Oh, I remember
The
that.
Devil Horns.
I just sometimes you'll get in a little wormhole. Like I just went through a whole Eddie Murphy like phase because
that's
they
funny.
have all his movies.
They
The
have all his
48
movies.
Hours, Golden
Fuck
Child,
you, Eddie.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Netflix is where I channel surf now, because before the invention of Netflix, when it was just me in college with my television, I would float through television and then I'd just be like, okay, I'm interested. And I would end up watching a documentary on the reproduction of the giant squid. And, I would channel surf.
Becca's Friday night.
This is my Friday night, guys. And this is what I do on Netflix now, where I'm just going through and I'm like, dinosaurs. Yeah. And then I end up watching something on dinosaurs. So Netflix is like channel surfing.
Yeah.
I don't go there
But
specifically
it's more of a
for
commitment
horror.
because when you channel surf, it's already on. But to push start, I can't do it, man. I'm
See,
like
but
channel
mine's
surfing to the
quick.
point where I'm like,
Yeah.
but it's for 89 minutes or that's 100. And then,
know.
it's tough.
I think the most beneficial thing about Netflix is TV. Like when
Yeah, the TV
Hannibal pops
shows.
up or a show that you've heard
or
about.
the day that
original.
this episode hits and all of Daredevil's going to be there. I mean, that's
No, a
crazy.
week after
like
that.
the
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a
fall-
week? I thought it was the
Yeah.
10th.
No, it's coming when this airs.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
keep
But
forgetting.
either way, I'm just so
Like-
fucking excited. I don't care.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, me too.
Fall or Black Mirror, or even like when I was pregnant, I watched all of Star Trek, and I mean every single Star Trek episode because they were all on
That's
Netflix.
Supernatural, right?
And
Didn't you catch up on that?
Supernatural, I did through most of them were Prime through Amazon.
Okay.
So I did most of it through Amazon, and then the last few episodes I did through Hulu because they were on Hulu.
Okay.
So yeah, but that always messes me up too when only certain seasons are available on Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, and then some seasons aren't considered Prime, and you have to pay for season 3. And I never understand how the whole licensing thing works. Or certain episodes. That's another thing I've noticed is Netflix will have like 1 through 24. We won't have 25 and 26, but here's 27 and 28. And
That's
I've
weird.
seen that with a
Yeah,
couple
that's a
of
weird
shows.
thing. Yeah.
Huh.
What about, do you think the longevity of Blu-ray is going to go beyond just being a collector's thing? Do you think it can survive and like continue? You don't think so?
Not according to any industry people I
Yeah.
talk to.
Yeah.
Because like
You know what? Who would have predicted that all of a sudden vinyl, especially horror soundtracks,
Yeah,
would
exactly,
have a
yeah.
mild,
But
there's always
it's
going to be
not-
collectors.
There's always going to be something.
Yeah.
There's always going to be collection. I mean, like my Blu-ray collection has grown significantly just simply because there are all these rando titles that are coming out. It's like, oh, the Beyond came out. I'm going to buy that, and then I pre-ordered something new, which is rare. I pre-ordered a Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
Yeah.
Because the packaging was great. I got
that's
the
already
Babadook
on
and-
Amazon too.
And you
Yeah.
have to watch that in Blu-ray. I like movies that look gorgeous.
And let me tell you, the soundtrack for that movie is fucking so good.
Is it?
It
I
is
haven't heard
so
that.
good. It is so good. You mentioned Draft House earlier, and I just want to bring up, I am sad because this was announced this month. I'm so fucking thrilled that Karin Kusama's The Invitation got picked up at Draft House.
Yeah,
It
so
is
that
so
today.
good.
yeah.
Elric, you were going to fucking love this.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. But
We want to have her on the show.
They
is
choose
so
very wisely. They're not picking as many things lately. It seems so. Probably they could afford movies like that.
Yeah, it is so good. So
Yeah.
good.
And The Witch, you said, was really good too, right? You saw the film The Witch at Sundance.
Witch, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
heard
Witch
good
is
things
super
about
Witch is super messed up. It's a slow
I hear.
burn. It's a super slow burn.
I bet Sam loved that one.
Of course he did. I was there. I was there to feel Sam's aura as
I'm
like in a
picturing
glue.
him like cheering
Yeah,
through
no,
the
he
movie
was
and
so
doing that
stoked.
Sam Zimmerman.
Yeah, he was so stoked. But like the last, like, the beginning and the end of Witch are just such are horrifying. There's like really great horrific imagery, and the ending of Witch is what we've been waiting to see in a witchcraft film, like some cool stuff.
What about the ending of Insidious 3?
You cut it out.
He's on a roll. He's ready to tell me. Okay, fair enough.
Since you mentioned Sam, Sam Zimmerman was at Fangoria, and now he currently runs Shock to Drop in Ryan's place.
Sam's killing it. By the way, I was reminiscing or ruminating on the state of horror affairs today, and I was thinking, so me at Shock was like the Tony Timpone Fango years,
Right.
Sam at Shock is like the Chris Alexander years, where it's like, okay, enough of the bullshit, like kind of focusing on new stuff and throwing in some good content here and there. But it's all intellectual content now. It's like, that's it. It's like,
That's all
fuck your
Chris
page.
does.
The Chris Alexander.
Yeah,
approach.
yeah, yeah.
Can that survive? I mean, I'm
talking-
all for that. Obviously, that's my
Well,
bag.
Dude, it seems to be,
I
he
have
seems
to
to be
say,
doing just fine.
From a Fango perspective, Chris and I had this conversation earlier today. We actually see sales surge when we put older stuff on the title than when we on the cover than when we do new.
That's great.
So
That's great.
Yeah, I mean it's not like a incredibly skewed difference, but it's enough that we go, hey, you know what? The Creepers cover is doing way better than this one with the
a great
contemporary
issue.
film.
Yeah, no, listen, I mean,
So-
like, what Sam's doing with Shock now is what I was always afraid to do, because I just wanted to hold on to my fucking job. And I was afraid that like our traffic would die. But he's hanging in there, and he's doing some really great stuff. And there's some really great new contributors that are throwing in some thoughts on great retrospective pieces and stuff. But I'm thinking about starting a blog.
Hey, you're allowed to.
Because you have that much time?
No, I don't. But every once in a while, like if I have time, or if I have like a night where I'm just like, I got nothing going on, I just want to feel like spewing off
Could you
about
do
my own
that on
thought.
Blumhouse's site? Like,
No. I'm like my own personal, like, what do the kids use today? WordPress?
Blogspot, man.
Blogspot?
I do my weird music freaking ramblings on there.
See, I
Blogs?
work for
It's
a
easy.
secondary site. I moonlight under a different name for
Mistress.
Mistress
Becca.
This is Bang Bros?
Oh my god!
you could say that rapey and boring.
I'm gonna have to cut out so much of this episode because of you dicks. No, I moonlight for a site that's on eco living, and I write for a site, and I mean it
You
pays
moonlight
well.
no more. now you're in the door.
Now everyone knows.
No.
No, I write under a different name, and it's a completely different thing. But I mean, it pays, and it's like my part-time
Really?
gig. Yeah. And so, and I just write about eco living, which is something I never fucking discuss on the show because it's like two completely different jobs.
Yes.
But
Holy shit, this is a total
do it.
the more you know moment.
I know. I
Becca.
do it through WordPress, and it's fucking awesome.
Tell them the other things you do.
Oh my god.
No, but seriously, did I use WordPress or Blogspot?
I
use
WordPress
Blogspot.
is great.
No, I say Blogspot.
Honestly, like, I just want to do something because I get the itch to every once in a while to just like spew and talk about, things that maybe I could potentially like use as a launching pad for a book or whatever.
You couldn't go back to and put those on Shock as a guest contributor?
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
You
these are
walk away.
mine. These are
You're
mine.
done.
These are mine.
What's his own thing? Yeah. Well, I was going to talk. I mean, the reason I brought up Sam and Shock to Drop. Is
Sorry.
I just wanted to talk very briefly about the evolution of the horror website because I mean, look, you were there for a long period of time. Not only that, but at Fangoria as a contributor, and then
Dread Central.
you were there at Dread, and you were with Shock pretty much since its inception. So when you were leaving, like, was it challenging to kind of keep things up? Because I remember, we could speak about this. I don't really do much of anything for Icons of Fright anymore. I let Jerry Smith handle that. because, we started out a lot younger and a lot more passionate and kind of in that mind frame of, I don't care if I get paid. I just want to write about horror movies.
Yeah.
Exactly. Had a lot to say. Now, things are different from the days when the top 5 sites were Shock and Bloody Disgusting and Dread and all that, because there's so many voices out there. There's so many blogs. There's so many horror websites.
So many things. And I tweeted about this last week. It was like so many rules to be a horror fan. I read one blog post and it was like, why I, as a blogger, am not taking free DVDs or something like that.
I read that. John Squires,
And I was just like, is that who it was? Sorry, John. I totally disagree with you.
We love John, and I disagree with you.
No. I was like, dude, I mean, like, why? And I read it, and it was like, the reasoning being because you're supposed to be supporting and paying and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, no, because you put yourself into this category as a blogger or as a kind of emissary of the genre in which you want to talk about, and talk about films and interview people. People are looking to you for criticism and for reviews. It's not your right to get stuff for free, but if it's sent your way, then fucking write about it. That's how you are giving in return.
Yeah.
I feel some of that
there's
anger,
a reason
though,
they are free.
Of what might have motivated him, because I have seen a lot, and I got to say I don't like it that much. Photos that certain people take of the stack of, this is what I'm reviewing, look at it. And there's that feeling of,
I didn't get that.
Just like, if I get cool Scream Factory mail, I tweet about it.
But you know what? It is really frustrating, because there was a long period of time, even when I started the show, where I didn't have any job or any affiliation with anybody, including FearNet, where it's kind of frustrating when you are in that position where people want your opinion. You're like, oh yeah, you ran Icons, here's this, here's that, and then it just drops, and then you see everybody else getting it, and you feel like, oh, I'm not special enough to review that title anymore, whatever the case is. But that's part of social media, and
sure.
It was funny. I mean, even when we had Ty West on the show, he made a very valid point. He's like, dude, I used to wake up, I'd go to Dread Central, go to Shock, I'd read the headlines. He's like, I don't even bother anymore. I just skim my Twitter, and if there's like a trailer I want to see, I'll follow that. I feel like that is completely cannibalized and kind of taken away a lot of the importance of what we used to do.
Totally
but
is.
It's still, because if you look at the stats for the Fangoria site, a huge amount of our traffic now is bounce throughs, meaning somebody sees it on Twitter feed of, hey, this Suspiria TV show on Fangoria, and they click it and it bounces.
But I guarantee you it's not as strong as it was 5 years ago.
No, not at all.
That's the whole point. That's the
was.
reason all these sites were covering freaking Twilight all of a sudden, because we had to keep our numbers up.
My boss, when we were on the cusp of, Shock had just begun and Twilight landed hard, and I remember they gave us like the title treatment for Twilight. That was our largest fucking news story in the history of Shock.
Remember, it was on the cover of Fangoria.
That's right.
And it was sold great. And I kept telling people that when we'd go to conventions, and people were like, why the fuck did you put, Twilight New Moon on the cover? And we were like, it's sold.
Keep the lights on.
At the end, we have to keep the lights on. And if this moves 50,000 more issues than if we hadn't put it on, there you go.
But the problem was then that made everybody thirsty. They were like, we want more of that. We want, like every year they go, where's the next Twilight story that hit this big? And I'm like, guys, that was such an anomaly that and we didn't even know Twilight was going to be this big. But no, things have drastically changed. And in terms of even my own browsing of what I look at and what I read, it's like I'm going back to print. I'm going back and reading Rue Morgue and Fangoria and stuff, because I'll do what Ty does. I'll always go to Shock, always see what Sam's up to. But then there's other stuff I'm just I don't give a fuck about, I don't care how many, let's talk about what Freddy character are you? Or, these kind of stories that are just listicles.
You got a really bad one, huh? That's what this is about. Which Freddy character?
Yeah. Which Freddy character?
You got the guy from 2.
I'm the coach from 2.
You're the wizard in the wheelchair, aren't you?
That's a bad one. I like wizard in the wheelchair.
I'm not the wizard in the wheelchair. I am the wheelchair.
I can understand your rage.
No, it's so different, and it sucks, because everybody was coming from a certain place, but now it's just become straight up biz.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know,
straight up
'cause
business.
That's
Fango,
weird.
we stopped that because
No,
there
I know
was a
you guys.
lot-
Look,
we
Fango
gave
is
up. I don't want to say we gave up, but there was definitely a stretch when I first started with Fango where we were like trying to fight because dread and shock and bloody, and you guys were like cornering news markets, and the fifth poster for Hostel 2 comes up, and everyone has it within 30 seconds, and we were like, we can't even compete with this. So after a while, we just stopped, and we were like, let's just be
Do your
content.
own thing.
And that's what we do.
And you've been a brand
numbers
for over
actually
30,
increased
40
it.
years. So it's like, it doesn't, like, still to this day, you know, when I go into meetings, stuff, Fangoria. And it's like, yeah.
Did Brad ever hurt anyone you love? Like behind the scenes, whatever you can tell me. Like any injuries, your dad. I mean, your dad's
Listen,
a strong
man,
guy.
I'm feeling Brad's. I mean, I'm sure everybody's fucking struggling, and everybody's got their
I
stresses.
think they're
and
juggling other things. Like Brad shows you, hey, he's out there producing
Yeah.
some movies,
Totally,
making
and that's what he should be
anthologies, and-
doing.
Yeah, exactly.
You
and
know,
using
he
the
should be
brand.
handing it off to somebody else,
Yeah.
and letting them go do
I
their
think,
thing.
yeah, I feel
Shocking.
like that's the thing is we have to, you know, we can do it for X amount of years, but there's a period where we have to move on to something else, you know?
No,
It's-
totally. And that's why I mean, like, now that I've got my gig and I'm working and doing my thing, but I still kind of, and that's why I was like, guys, can you come on? Let me on Turek. I need to talk about horror movies.
That's, since he admitted it, that's totally how it happened.
It is.
Yeah, it totally is. I was like, come on, guys, let me on.
I think I invited you, and then I forgot about it, and then you asked him, and he's like, what do you mean you're invited? But, you know, it got it.
But I mean,
cool.
but I get that itch because I'm like, you know what? One of the things I recently wanted to like write about was, and I can talk about it here, but you know, the things that got me into horror, like the things that I would do to sneak away from my parents and like enjoy horror, and that was one of the things was to go to the library, and the library had a very small bottom of the shelf movies and television section, and it had a book called Horror Movies. Boom, that's it.
I have
Horror
that
movies.
book.
You have that book.
I have that book.
It's got the Halloween poster on the cover, and then you go through, and it's a history of horror from like the 1920s all the way up to the
Mine's
1979.
hardbound, and it's like all ratty. but
I'm
I
still looking
have
for
it.
that book. If anybody finds it on like eBay, I'd love to buy it. But and then there was another coffee table book akin to that, but they would have these lurid photos of like, you know, Carolyn Monroe and, you know, certain positions and all this stuff. And I would be like, yeah, this is all great. I love all this. And I would go every day after elementary school and go look at these books. But that was a part of, you know, like my early horror knowledge. But that's something I would just like, I want to write about. And like, I feel like it's just like a fun little blog would do that.
Well, I'm also interested because your dad is really into horror. I'm always curious about the difference of if your parents, like people like Keller, who are purposely, you know, showing their kids horror, Jerry,
talking about it,
or versus for me getting into it. Like, I mean, it sounds like a little bit with
Same
you too.
here.
It's that subversive thing of
Wow.
going away from your family. I don't like the whole. It was like the secret, hidden thing, and
Yeah,
that's
for
where
me
the
too.
power lay. That if my parents had said, "Hey, come so much horror," I don't know if I would have had the same. I did watch Deliverance with them really young, so I think they started a lot of this. Like at 6, I saw Deliverance, and I was just like, you know. But I do wonder.
Why is
it
that
must be
man
quite different.
ramming his pelvis into that guy's buttocks?
See, my mom was the same way, where my mom was very much like, oh, you like horror films, come sit with me, because my mom was like a big sci-fi buff. She still is. And I wrote on my Facebook page today about how she showed me Dune when I was like 8, and I had no fucking clue what was going on, and I still
today
watch
you
it,
wouldn't know.
and I'm still like, I don't,
Yeah,
I
now
don't,
you don't know either.
it's not any better.
Not clarified at all.
But yeah, mom was always like, you know, Alien. She let me watch ridiculously
Yeah, I saw that
young
young,
just because
too.
she was way into it. And she was like, come sit down. And when she discovered that I was actually kind of piqued to curiosity in it, then she was very much like, well, if you're going to get into this, you're going to learn how they make it. And so she started getting me books on special effects and movie making and things like that. Because my parents were very much into, you can watch it, but you're going to know it's kind of it's a construction. It's not real.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if
How
there's
was
any
your
difference.
dad
But
with that stuff? He was pretty open with
My
showing.
dad was pretty open. Yeah. No, I was actually thinking about this the other day because what was a movie that everybody? Oh, Scott Derrickson was tweeting about how he was showing his kids Aliens for the first time,
Oh, right.
and I remember my dad took me to go see Aliens opening night.
Wow.
But first he warmed me up with the chest burster sequence from Alien,
Yeah.
and I had never seen it, so watching it out of context, I was like, "What the fuck?"
yeah, it's way scarier.
It's so scary because it was like suddenly this guy's eating dinner and then all of a sudden something bursts out of him and then goes running off and he's like, haha, isn't that funny? I'm like, oh show. That's crazy. And then I saw Aliens, and I was like, this is nothing like Alien because it's so full of action and it's a roller coaster ride. But I was like, what was that? 86, summer 86.
Yeah, I think so.
So if it was summer 86, I was like 9. And then, like, I also saw The Fly. I saw Cronenberg's The Fly uncensored without my dad, like, holding his hand over my face, and other stuff. So I saw it really early on, but it was only on their terms what kind of horror and extreme stuff I saw. So there was, like, nothing with extreme sex, nothing with extreme violence. And then I just sought that shit out myself.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the same thing.
Yeah,
In other words, you
definitely-
get the same reaction.
It reached a point in middle school where it became like a reward for me, and that's when my parents started as long as you're on the honor roll, you can watch whatever you want and we won't really question it. And then I was allowed to go to the video store by myself, and this is before carding days. Plus it was like a mom and pop store. And they would just kind of like pull up, let me go in, I could get whatever I want, but grades were the first requirement. And
my
so
parents
it was
took
very
away my
much-
garbage pail kids if my grades went down.
Oh, yeah.
So bummed out.
Wow.
But surprisingly, that kind of barter system, it worked. Like I'm debating, like with Marnie, like whatever she likes. Like, oh, if you're not getting straight A's, you don't get crackers for a week or something. I don't know what it is.
But it was funny because the dichotomy of like my film upbringing. I would see horror films, but then this is terrible, but when I was in elementary school, in like the 5th grade, I would sneak away to my friend's house and see the extreme sex comedies of the 80s. So Bachelor Party, name some other, whatever it was.
Have you seen
Easy
Love
Money.
Lines?
No,
Okay,
I don't know
so
that
So a
one.
lot of boobs.
That was like, it's so much boobs. That was one of my favorite ones. And I'm in Eddie Brandt's one day, and there's this guy in there who's apparently like the industry expert on 80s TNA comedies. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty much all I want. And I was like, have you seen Love Lines? And he's like, no. And I was like, you need to see Love Lines. It's hilarious. Apparently, I'm like the only one who's ever seen Love Lines,
Yeah, I
but
don't
it's like
remember that.
my favorite 80s
This is the
TNA
point.
comedy.
This is the point in the podcast when I'm driving down the road and I'm listening and I'm like, "Where's Elric? Oh, Elric can't relate to any of this.
Elric's drunk.
I don't look at nudity and stuff.
Elric's really quiet.
I'm
What
very
happened?
chaste. I'm very chaste. I don't look
Yeah.
at nudity or porn.
Elric's
Get
had
outta
5
here.
beers. This is where he gets really
No,
quiet.
but seriously, Bachelor Party was like the shit to me when I was like, Tony Katane.
Yeah.
I want to hang out with all these bros. I want to have a party just like that. And then I got older and I went, none of that happens.
Eli Roth's still
Which is
living
a
that
shame.
dream.
Yeah, he's trying
Every
to.
time I see his
He's
films, I'm
trying
like,
to.
you're still reliving that dream of your 14-year-old
Porky's,
imagining you're in a
Bachelor
frat.
Party, Easy
Yeah.
Money, Revenge of the Nerds, all that
I
stuff.
can't wait for him to come on the
Yeah.
show. It's going to happen, right? You're going to make this happen.
I'm
it's all on
working on
Becca.
it.
I can't wait.
It's going to happen.
I'm
That's my
working
dream.
on it.
Yeah.
I'll be really nice. I'll
We're
kiss
gonna
and
talk
I'll do
about-
whatever.
Yeah, right. I have to like warn him ahead of time. Like, I'm really
I
sorry
like
about
scenes in a lot of
Elric.
his movies. I really do.
Right.
Moving on.
Do we have any more topics?
No, I mean, another one I want to tackle just because I thought it'd be interesting and we've never had the chance or opportunity to talk about is kind of the whole Kickstarter or
That's like a whole show for me.
I
but
know,
Yeah.
self-financing, that sort of deal, because everybody has their mixed opinions on it. There's obviously a right way and a wrong way to do it,
Yeah, but then you got Travis Stevens on. He's like, yeah, we kickstarted Starry Eyes.
That's true.
And
And
then
I
it's like,
didn't-
oh, look
I
at the
didn't
success of
realize
that.
that.
And
A
it's like
Kickstarter.
Babadook and,
I just got the press release on a Kickstarter a couple of days ago where one of the rewards is a pitch meeting with Travis Stevens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
He's
saw
plugging
that.
that one. Like,
That's how you fucking market some shit. That's so smart.
no, they used to have like Larry Krasowziak or whatever the hell his name is. Read your script for Trailers from Hell. They were like, he'll read your script and give you feedback. I mean, he's a fucking real deal.
See, that
he wrote
I
Ed
would-
Wood, you know?
That
That's a
I would be
great
willing
perk.
to, because if someone came to me
Yeah.
and was like $100 and this really knowledgeable guy would read your script, I'd do it regardless of the Kickstarter involved. But
well, it's better than Dirt from the Night of the Living Dead Cemetery,
You
which
know-
was a perk from last year.
Ryan and I taught a class a couple of years ago at Scare LA.
Last year.
Oh, it was last year? Why does it feel
Time
like 2
flies.
years ago?
Because
I
time
was
flies.
so younger and spry then. Now I'm just old and
I was much more
grumpy.
enthusiastic about life.
Maybe that was it. But we taught this class there, and it was on how to properly have a Kickstarter or Indiegogo. It was like how it was a lot of what we discussed was like how to have a good, crowdfunding campaign. And I was kind of shocked with the large number of people who showed up. Like we had like 50 people show up for that.
Yeah, we had people.
It's a tidal wave. You can't stop. This is, and like I get why it's polarizing. You know, as Rob Zombie goes on there, it's polarizing because you're somebody who has access to money, but it's also gone beyond money. It's often now about cultivating fan bases for a product. Sure. So I see the importance. Honestly, I feel like we live in a free market, man. It's like if people are going to use Kickstarter and it works for them, go to it. And if good work can come from it, go to it.
Did you guys,
that's kind of where I've come to now. I'm like all for whatever you want to do.
Because there are certain projects. Like I know that everyone jumped down like Rob Zombie's throat. And even I when, and I can't remember his name now, the guy from Scrubs who made Garden State.
Oh, Zach Braff.
When Zach Braff did his, I was like, really, man? You can't come up with, however, I think he was looking for like $1 million.
Yeah.
But then again,
that's the crazy other side of it, right? But then he goes on and gets it really quickly. That's all it is. So you have to go like, I guess. I mean, I don't like that. But
Zombie?
I guess it worked for you.
No, Zach Braff. But then, like, when I hear about like the guys from ADI doing it for Harbinger Down because nobody wants to fund a practical horror film, then I'm like, yes,
smart.
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
That's totally smart. That's totally smart.
Know. I think I'm kind of fickle with which ones I like.
It's become a lot easier. It's become a lot. I'm a lot more ambivalent about Kickstarter now that I'm not press and I'm not receiving press releases every 5 days.
That's the biggest thing.
I mean,
every
that's
5 days. I get 5 a day.
Because the thing is this, like I didn't have Kickstarter when I made my doc, and it's like, you know what, maybe. So I kind of feel like, look, I struggled really hard, and I was able to make a movie, and granted, I'm still paying it off. But it's like I did it because I wanted to. So I kind of feel like I don't want to give you money to make your movie because you're not willing to make the sacrifice to finish it. However, had things been a little bit differently or had it been a little more advanced, my biggest downfall was that I had to pay a ridiculous like licensing fee to Universal to use any sort of psychic stuff. So had it been different times, maybe I would have went that route. But because of where we are, like what we do, which is for the most part write for horror websites, it's impossible to get behind any like somebody reached out to me the other day who I like a lot and who I think their project seems really great. And I said, look, I like it, but the second I post about your horror movie, I'm going to get 100 emails from other people. Well, why don't you post about mine? It's like, because I can't. And I'm trying to get a job right now. I can't help you with your movie.
At Fangoria, we get an average of 5 emails a day just about Kickstarter projects. Yeah. So many so, and I mean, you'd think 5 a day, that's not that many, but it is when you think about, how many emails we're getting a day. If 5 are guarantee 5, sometimes it's more, are just about Kickstarter. That's only Kickstarter. That doesn't include Indiegogo or GoFundMe or other things. It is so heavy that we actually have a form letter that we auto send back so that we don't even personally respond to them anymore. It's just a form letter that we send back that says, look, thank you for contacting us. Please let us know as soon as the project is funded. We'd love to hear more about it. Here are some advertising options. If you're looking to get this out, we offer like super discounted advertising options for people who are doing crowdfunding. Right. But it's just so much. And that's the thing. We can't open the door. We can't say, we will cover yours and not get like 50 other people immediately. Well, you covered this person. And so now if we do cover one, because like we covered Harbinger Down, the entire company, and there's like 7 of us, have to agree that that one deserves to be covered in order for us to cover it. So it has to go through like a committee now before we'll cover the Kickstarter campaign. Yeah, it's insane.
It's tough. It's really tough to, and I mean, I guess it's a case by case basis in terms of which ones. Because I do think it's a good tool. I mean, I don't think Zach Braff needs to do a Kickstarter or whatever, but there are a lot of little indie projects, and I'm more inclined for things that aren't film. Like I knew a guy at Amoeba who had made a record with his band and wanted to put out a vinyl release. And honestly, it wasn't all these weird tiers. It was just, hey, we want to make a vinyl. It's just $25 up front. Like we need 100 people to put up 25 so we could print enough records to give out. And I'm like, all right, well, I kind of see that because I hate when it's like, oh, it's $100 to get somebody to follow you back on Twitter or some nonsense like that. It's like, I just want the product. Like if it's a matter of me paying for your Blu-ray in advance, and it's reasonable.
I think
it's
that seems like the most legit way
$25
forward.
or $30 range. I can't buy your Blu-ray for $50. I'm sorry, that's too much. I need whatever the reasonable rate is, and then
But what if it's signed by Elric Kane?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I will be screaming possession. Anyone bring me a
He's
possession.
signing possession.
Last time I
Copies
did.
of possession.
No, I think
Can we
it's
start a
part of-
Kickstarter to build an extension on Junka
Dude.
Cafe?
No,
Yes.
no, a
I wanna open a video store
Kickstarter
there.
for me to interview Sam Neill about possession. No one has ever interviewed Sam Neill. He has never talked about. I would kill to do that. No, I think it's a really important part of the new economy. No different than your choice between going to Starbucks and going to a mom and pop place. They just simply will not be here much longer. Like almost none of them. And I think this is the same thing. It's another avenue where, oh, do I want to support that thing I really usually dig? Oh, cool. They're releasing a cool vinyl. I'll support that. Cool. And then I get that thing. As long as you get something from it.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like that's
cool to
really
me.
a legit new economy
Yeah.
that we have to like be open to. We can't just lambast and say, oh, it's all terrible. It's like, no, it's just another choice that you
a
have.
lot of good projects that I've really enjoyed for the past couple of years were kickstarted or crowdfunded, like Starry Eyes
Yeah,
or
Starry Eyes.
Absentia. These are all projects that
There's
started
also a
with
lot of
these
shorts that a lot of these
crowdfunding
filmmakers would never get to make a movie.
Yeah.
And
You know,
they
and
start
I-
their career that way, and their
I
friends want to support them,
crowdfunded.
their families want to support them. You can't
Yeah.
diss it. It's
No,
I
get
crowdfunded my
that.
very first film, and it's weird because I was kind of ashamed about doing it. Like I didn't want to ask my friends for money because at the time we were all really poor grad students, and so I crowdfunded my first film. I put the money up. I was only looking for like $1,500 because it was just a short, and I only sent the link to like my family members, and I made like a big letter about give me this for Christmas this year. Don't send me birthday presents. Don't send me cards. Just donate $20, and everybody did, and we got $1,500 to make a movie. But yeah, that's how I did my first film.
I mean,
ever.
look, I guess at the end of the day, what you want to do with your money is your prerogative. It's just I understand when it's supporting a small project that you think is kind of cool. Like, I can't believe that Stuart Gordon didn't get to do Nevermore.
That was
can't
pretty
either.
shocking.
That
That
one
was
like,
was
really?
shocking.
You know, like
I think
that
they
was-
just didn't understand the landscape. When
yeah,
they put that,
maybe
you know?
they didn't push it the way they should have, or gone after his Star Trek, like the Jeffrey Combs Star Trek following and all that.
Yeah.
But then I see something like right now, there's a Back to the Future documentary or something that's already past its
What's
thing.
this Friday Night documentary, by the way?
There's also
Fuck that. I'll flat out say that. But
There's
anyway.
also a Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark doc that I've been seeing floating around on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, if you if you got the passion for it and you've got a cool angle, then why not? Starry Eyes is definitely a testament to that. But
Yeah.
with Rob Zombie, I mean, like with Rob Zombie's 31, it's interesting because Rob actually he reposts people who get their rewards. Like they're like, I got my poster, I got my this, or I got my that, and it's like, okay, he's doing his somebody's doing the due diligence.
As much as people talk smack about him in particular,
Dude,
it's
I'm stoked for 31 now.
I
Like
kinda
seeing
am
the
too.
photos and stuff like that, and hearing the things I'm hearing because they just wrapped this month. It's like,
See,
I'm
but he's
excited.
somebody that has a very specific fan base that, you know what, like if I'm a kid from, middle America that loves Rob Zombie, he's my favorite person ever. It's like the rewards are kind of cool to get that kind of access to an artist that I care about. Like, if I was a teenager and I could do that for Nirvana or whoever, then I understand the appeal of it. I thought it was smart that he didn't actually let you see what his budget was or what people were donating at all. But, it's like, you don't have to donate if you don't want to donate money to Rob Zombie.
Reality is people hate this shit until something they like is on it.
Yeah.
So if tomorrow David Lynch goes, we're this far away from me having enough to direct it all, everyone's going to donate to pay the rest of the money and get this show on the road.
And the
no
weather
one's
is
gonna
a
complain.
glorious blue sky, bluebird
73 degrees.
bluebird
Have
skies,
you tried the coffee?
and the Showtime deal is in.
Yeah, but I don't think you're wrong to feel some of the feelings you have because some of the people are just they're whores on there. They're on there all the time.
Like I said, the two examples I wanted to bring up, and I'm sorry to slag you if anybody knows who these people are.
Burn.
But I feel like I have to call it. It's like
Preemptive slagging.
preemptive. There's a doc about Superman Lives, about the Tim Burton Superman thing. And great, I want to see that movie. But you know what? The amount of money that dude was asking to make it.
How much?
I can't remember specifically, but he got a tremendous amount of money to make it. And then had a second Kickstarter for it. And then I'm watching the footage, and it's not that well shot. So it's like, where the fuck did you spend that money? And it's like, you know what? Good luck finishing it. I ain't giving you money to finish it, but I can't wait to watch it.
Right.
Damon
Exactly.
Packard goes on there and tries to get people to pay off his parking tickets. I love that. And he's so honest about it.
See, I support that.
He's like, I can't finish this movie because I got parking tickets and I need to get you paid. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Like,
No, and I mean, again,
Who's the other one?
Like a Back to the Future one that's similar, and it's a lot of money from look, again, I've made a doc with next to nothing, so I know how much it really costs, and like the amount they're asking for. But also, I think to myself, like, I own that Blu-ray set of Back to the Future. How much more do we need to know about those movies? You know, like, really? Like, that's what everyone... And it's surpassed its thing because people exploit fandom. And, like, I have a problem with people exploiting fandom because it's like, look, that's a known property that, you know...
Or it's a sense of entitlement, and they're trying to make something that's not theirs. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, I'm going to make this about me by doing a Back to the Future documentary because I think I can get to the bottom of things that you've never heard about. I don't know. Fandom is very weird now, you know, and all I can say is that you just take from it what you want and ignore the rest and just whatever.
What are some films you're super jazzed about, either that you've seen or have inside track? Just films that like you've been hearing from inside
you
the castle.
Heard it here first on Killer POV.
Ryan's David Lynch voice.
No. All right, look, I wrote some of these things down.
Cool.
The Nightmare, Rodney Asher's movie.
Oh, yeah.
The documentary about sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Really well done.
Ooh,
really well
that
done.
one looks really frightening.
And God damn it, Rodney, will you make a regular movie now? Because I mean, like, now for the second time, he's created a film that is a documentary with cool visuals and really cool reenactments. But again, it's the second movie he's made where you're second guessing the sanity of the subjects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, Room 237, you're just like, you guys are all crazy.
No, Team Minotaur.
No. They're not crazy, but you're just going, okay, sure.
Yeah,
you know, I'm sure you're a very nice person, but whatever. The Nightmare, they're talking about actual people who suffer from real sleep paralysis,
Yeah.
but you question their stories because
I
they're
used,
like,
I used to
yeah.
suffer from it.
I've
Did you see demons and stuff?
I saw an old hag.
Oh, wait, maybe this
I have a
isn't...
short film I wrote about it.
Maybe this isn't what I thought it is. Sleep paralysis, I have it sometimes where I wake up, but my body doesn't exactly cooperate yet. And it's like for like a
you're
split.
like you're laying there, and then all of a sudden you might feel a pressure on your chest, or you see a shadow man or something.
It's referred to
Or
as
in
sleep
Rob's
paralysis
case.
or old hag syndrome.
Oh, see, I don't have that. I just have like, I'll wake up and I'm very coherent, but my body won't move
Paralyzed.
yet. Yeah, like I'm paralyzed. And it wears off very quickly. It's like 30 seconds, but it's just like my brain wakes up before the rest of me does.
A lot of people in that state will actually see something on top of them, like choking them.
Holy fucking hell.
And
My
Any theory
God,
behind that?
and,
Why?
and that's the weird thing is because it always looks like an old hag, and I've suffered from this. It's
Oh
one of
my
my
God.
few fears, and it's weird because when you're in deep sleep like REM or whatever, your brain releases you're paralyzed because if you're dreaming that you're running, your body paralyzes you so that you don't get up and start running.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're in deep sleep, and there's occasionally you will wake up abruptly in the middle of that. So it takes 30, 40 seconds for your body to kind of not be paralyzed anymore.
Yeah.
My body doesn't paralyze. I just hit.
You just punch.
Well, if you can, but no, there's times where, I mean, your mind plays tricks on you, and you think you see some pretty fucked up shit.
Oh my God, I would lose my shit.
This is the reason it happens primarily when you sleep on your back. So that's why I sleep on my sides and toss and turn all
Man,
night.
I always sleep on my back.
I can't even sleep on my stomach because if I have sleep paralysis when I sleep on my stomach, I actually start choking myself on my pillow
Jesus Christ,
because
Rob.
you can't move, and you're
Wow. Oh my God, this is so
yeah.
fuckt up. I can't wait to see this documentary
Yeah,
now.
it's really-
and I
it's
feel
really well
really
done.
bad for you, Rob.
Yeah,
Let's reiterate
Yes.
that Rob is currently single and looking to mingle.
I need I do need a spooning partner.
He does.
So Ryan punches.
Preferably one who doesn't have those kind of issues.
Yeah,
You look like a hag.
You don't look like a witch and will not choke me in my sleep. So that'd be great.
Yeah.
And
That's amazing.
Ryan punches in his
Punches.
sleep.
I've bitten once.
You bit?
Bit.
What the fuck is wrong
This was
with
when
you
I
guys?
was in college. When I was in college, I bit really hard, and like I just remember
A
hearing
girl
screaming.
you were like dating.
Yes,
You bit her
I
in
bit
your
her. I
sleep.
bit her on the shoulder.
Damn.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know, but
Right, that
I
was his favorite movie. There you go.
she
my God.
she jumped out of bed and she was
That's crazy.
screaming at the top of her lungs.
You guys make me feel so damn normal.
Movies.
Nightmare?
Movies are great. Nightmare. I also have to recommend Deathgasm.
Oh, yeah.
that one looks
Deathgasm.
amazing.
It's so much fun. It's so
And
much
hold on,
fun.
get on your New Zealand kick.
Yeah,
Go
Kiwi
ahead.
Gore.
There we go.
Kiwi, the invitation. But one, I'm excited. Who's going to Stanley Film Festival here, guys?
We're all going to be in
God,
Texas
we're all
at the
gonna be
same
in
time.
fucking Texas.
Well, I'll be at Stanley Film Festival,
Actually,
so come
I can't
on
say
up
fucking
and
Texas.
say hi.
I'm really excited to go to Texas.
Yeah, I am too. But I would
what's
love,
great-
if we're still around, I think next year we should try to go Stanley
If
and
we're
do our
still
thing there.
around.
Everybody,
Next year.
guys.
We're going to be kickstarting our show.
Everybody is going to the Stanley Film Festival. Who's going to be at Texas Frightmare?
We are.
Everybody
And all
is
our
going to be at
fans.
Stanley Film Festival.
All of our fans are going to be in
Is Brad
Texas.
Dorff going to be at Stanley?
No.
Is Don
Brad Dorff's gonna be with
Coscarelli?
Is Sherilyn Finn going to be? at
Hell
Texas?
no.
She's
Is
in
that
Texas.
made
Sorry.
from American Horror Story that Elric has a thing for?
Oh, yeah.
Going to
Oh.
be at
Alexander
Stanley.
Breckenridge?
And it's on my list, so I've got free reign. Alexander, I'm coming for you.
Wow.
But Alexander, could you dye your hair red again? Because the blonde isn't working for me.
Yeah. It needs to be red.
Got a weird thing for redheads.
Needs to be
What the
red.
hell?
That's weird. My mom.
But Stanley is they're opening.
Creepy. That's creepy.
Their opening night film and their closing night film. Their opening night film is Cooties, so I'm excited about
Cooties,
that.
yeah,
Their
that's
closing night films is Final Girls.
Oh, yeah.
And Final Girls, I hear, is a hoot. It is
Yes.
really, really well done.
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
What do you, of the ones you've seen, of all these ones, like It Follows, do you see any of them as a breakout hit or just solid indie fare? Is
You
there
know,
anything
man,
you
I
think
actually thought like The Invitation, if like somebody got behind it,
Yeah.
it would be because it's got a whopper.
And we've been
Somebody
talking about the
told
problem with
me-
Draft House. They're maybe still a little too small to get the big hit. But,
yeah.
Somebody told me that Deathgasm has kind of got a more national appeal just
but then
because
didn't
of the-
Housebound and that still didn't get
Yeah,
that
because
way.
I thought...
No, Deathgasm is
See, I
very
think what we do in
regional.
the shadows as well has like
Yeah.
a larger appeal. But then again, I guess to get some of the jokes, you have to understand horror and, Nosferatu.
What we do in the shadows though didn't really catch on as much. And
I think
then,
like a lot
it
of people
sold
don't know
out.
about it.
No, people don't know about it. When it comes out officially here, like
I think
like
Comedy
on DVD,
Central.
though.
No,
Oh,
it hasn't
DVD.
been.
I feel
yeah.
like if
It
Comedy
hasn't been
Central
released
bought
to
it and put it on
VOD
TV, it would do really well.
Yeah, what
like,
we do in the shadows isn't out on VOD yet.
No,
is
it was only
No.
playing in LA and like New York.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
We'll
so.
skip
But it's sold out.
It was it was at Stanley last year, but even still, that's a relatively small kind of.
I haven't seen a film
blistered-
play a room like that
Oh my
in
God.
a long
Yeah,
time. Maybe that's
we
the best
That's
I've
my
seen.
favorite of the year.
Howling.
Yeah, it's a
Favorite of
very
the year
funny
by
movie.
far.
We'll skip
But also a Stanley Film Festival, Dead Right Horror Trivia will be there.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
I
we're
know.
doing it.
Unfortunately, Becca will not be
Wait,
there.
that's bullshit.
I
Because
know.
we're going to
We're
be
going
doing
to
Dead
Texas.
Right Heart, and how can we
Actually,
be bifurcating
and I
it?
have to
minute.
say, they
Oh, that's
emailed
right.
me.
It's happening in
We're
2
doing it.
times.
Yeah. Well, they emailed me and they were like, "Can you come to Stanley? Can you come to Colorado?" And I was like, "Look, guys, I'm sorry," because they got to me a little bit late this year. I was like, "I'm already going to be in Texas doing Dead Right," and they were like, "Well, who can do it?" And they asked if Ryan was coming, and I was like, "I don't know. I think, but Sam will be there. Let's have Sam and Ryan do it." And then they said, and this would be crazy if we could have gotten it to work. They wanted to do Skype competitions, so we have Texas versus Stanley,
Whoa.
and
That
had
would've
the
been
two
tight.
festivals battling. And I was like, "How the
I
fuck
was
would
not
we
privy
set
to these
that up?"
conversations, but
That
that's
sounds
pretty amazing.
complicated.
Oh my
But
God,
I was
festival
like-
versus festival? That is...
Festival
Here's how
versus
I-
festival. But
Yeah.
all I could think is, how the fuck would we set that
Here's
up?
how it would go. It'd be like, okay, and that's the end of my round, Becca.
Becca.
And then it'd just be silent, and then you'd be like, okay, guys. And then like the lip
You'd see
syncing would
me
be all
for like
off. and-
pixelation
Yeah.
for like 20 seconds, and I'd be like, "Who's got the answers? Collect the ballots,
Yeah, yeah.
Ryan."
Holy
So,
shit.
I
Answer
was
to
like-
question number 1 is
There was no way, because they wanted to set it up so that you and
Yeah,
I were
makes
asking
sense.
the same
that's
questions,
good.
and we were going like the fans of Texas versus the fans of Stanley, and which fans were
Would've
better.
been cool.
Next
And
year,
I
we'll
was
do it
like,
next year.
If technology
year,
caught up
if
to
we
us.
have more than a month to coordinate this, next year we can do it.
But any that you think will be breakout hits like It Follows, like in terms of something that rises? You said Invitation, yeah.
no, the Invitation. Well, I mean, it's more of an acquired taste, I think. That's more specialty.
Maybe Final
Breakout
Girls. From
Well,
what I'm
Final
hearing.
Girls, yeah, I mean,
Has
who
the
knows?
potential.
It has the potential.
Of the Blumhouse slate, Unfriended is next.
Unfriended.
When does that come out?
That comes out April 17th, and I think it's going to be a big hit.
I just had lunch with the production manager from that today, and it sounds like, just listening to the way that they filmed it sounds so cool. I'm kind of like, when I first saw the preview, I hate to say it, I was very much like,
Super crazy.
the whole thing's social media, huh? I am so not hip.
Oh, yeah.
But
It was good.
seen it.
Listen, I saw the movie. I saw the movie at Fantasia. I'm not speaking bias. I saw it at Fantasia first, and I really, really liked it.
Yeah,
It was
after
really,
hearing
really good.
how they filmed it and how they set everything up and how detailed they went into kind of replicating what it would be like in real life to see your friends talking on social media. There were a lot of layers to what he was describing. And I was kind of like, this sounds really cool.
See, I would only see that movie because you've just said it's good. Like, it looked to me like, I'm like, oh my God, kill me now. And then, but when you say that, I believe it because I'm like, okay, I would actually go see that movie.
I just know the title and I saw one image of a girl and I'm just like, I am just way too old for that.
Yeah, that's part.
You might be, and you might be too. I mean, like, listen, but it plays really well with teenagers, and everybody, the crowd gets really riled up, and it's a lot of fun.
Do you think it'll be a good big screen movie?
I think it's going to be the way it's tracking to. I think it's going to be big.
Wow.
Which is
cool.
great.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and I'm stoked for Sinister 2.
Yeah,
primarily because of Kieran.
Get stoked for Insidious 3 too.
I can't wait for that either.
Is the and this you might not be able to answer, but the guy who made the canal, is there any plans for him in the worlds of? Is he the kind of guy you want to get?
No, absolutely. No,
because you are the originator of the canal in America, as far as I'm concerned. Because you picked that film,
You're the one.
I wouldn't have heard of it if it wasn't for you. Yeah. And it's not as misogynist as she says.
Oh my God! Why is it misogynistic? I don't know.
Oh God, she has a lecture on it.
I do.
God.
I have a whole lecture.
Why? Because
actually, you might be right on some of them, but it's still great.
Because it was very much like, okay, so the whole movie is about spouses cheating on each other. Her cheating, she is having dirty sex in this brightly lit room on this bare mattress with this Barbie guy, whereas he is having a affair with his perky
he
little
is not having an affair with her.
She's not.
It's kind of nuanced.
It's what we call a work flirtation, Becca.
Okay, fine.
And he does not cross the line. He doesn't cross the line. He's a good father and a good husband.
It portrays her as this kind of
totally
slutty harlot. But there's only two women in the entire movie: the slutty harlot and the coworker who's trying to seduce him. And so at the end of it, you're like, oh well, he killed the trampy harlot, and he's gonna kill the slutty coworker, and I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with this?
He's not slutty anymore because his wife is dead. And
no, but spoil the ending for another movie.
I
think she's already spoiled that one like 3 times.
I think she's channeling Clark.
You guys wanted to know on this one, so there you go.
Spoiling endings.
I mean, honestly, and you never really find out totally.
The interesting thing about even having opinions like that, no, because I actually, on retrospect, when you said them, a lot of them, I was like, oh, I actually think you're probably right on something, but it doesn't ruin the film for me because the film is still really interesting, has great visuals. It's
got great tension. The whole images of the canal is great. But at the end of it, I was like, we get two girls and they're both kind of just heathens.
Yeah, because you're watching with a different angle. You just are you. So you're watching a film with a different side.
I'm just me.
You're just
and that's my
because
downfall.
You're limited to that guy.
Ryan's just laughing.
But no, I mean, as a misogynist, are there other movies you recommend?
Yes, absolutely. Listen, the way I think if A24 plays their cards right, the Witch will be really. It could be really cool. Nice. I think it could be really cool. The Witch is really messed up, guys. Witch is really messed up. I don't know. Like, I mean, I'll give you the setup. The setup is a family who leave their village, and like the father is like steadfast in, leaving this community, and he goes and he's like, that plot of land over there by the edge of the woods, I am going to set up my farm there, and you're going to follow me, family, and we're gonna create roots here. And then there's and he's got an older daughter, a younger son, a younger daughter, and a baby. And then the older daughter's playing with the baby one day, and then something happens, and and then from there it just spirals into fucking madness for 5 minutes, and then it kind of rewrites itself, becomes a slow burn, and it becomes a movie about paranoia and religion and all this stuff, and then it gets batshit crazy again. And there's a great goat. Is it by somebody who'd done something before, or is this a new name? Yeah, totally a new name, and he was a production designer, I believe, beforehand. But he's got a great eye, really fantastic. But the goat. Black Phillip is the goat.
Wow, and, there was a really good goat in Day of the Beast.
There was,
Day of the Beast. That's like the scariest scene of the movie. Is just a goat because they've just done a seance and you don't think anything happened. You're just like, oh, well, I guess nothing happened. And then this black goat walks out of the kitchen and you're like, oh fucking hell. Yeah. So
that's goat. It's funny. This goat is like, I remember Devin was in the same crowd with me, and there's a scene where like the goat is just sitting with like the two kids, and the goat gives a look at the camera, and it's like, whoa, was that CGI? Go fucking acting? And it wasn't CGI. It was just a goat being a fucking goat. And I laughed so hard, and I heard Devin's like patented laugh in the back of the theater because we both picked up on it. We were like, oh yeah, that goat's good. And then of course Sam, we were all like, hail Black Phillip, he's amazing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Black Phillip the goat.
Yep.
Episode
By the end of
99.
2015, guys. 99.
This is 99.
Bloodcast never even got that far.
No, but you took it over at some. Well, I don't know what it was on when you took it over, but it was a different
like
show
30
then.
or something like that.
But I mean, we're 99. I know Adam and Joe's shows are about the same, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, the goal is to
we
outlive them.
We
We want to put them in the grave. You hear that, podcast?
We took some breaks.
And I'm starting a Kickstarter for the Return of the Bloodcast. So send in $15
Send
for
me
Ryan
a couple of
Turek.
press
That's what's
releases a
happening.
day. I don't get enough. You'll get our form
and
letter.
just for the record, so this is episode 99, and this is airing probably on the 17th, we believe. We're taking a 2-week break. Sorry, but somebody, Elric,
I thought it was an awesome
wanted
idea.
to make sure that the 100th was special and took place in Texas Frightmare, which is the first weekend of May.
Because we
So-
wanted to go to the Pantera strip club.
It's
Pantera
all
That
set.
sounds amazing.
I know.
Pantera
also-
Strip Club.
But
So
no, I think
so
it's worth it.
misogynistic,
We're going to try to
Elric.
make it worth your while, the wait.
Yes.
I think we're going to go out of our way to make this episode some interesting. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
the
cool people
100th,
down there.
We're going to try to get a bunch of people the way we did last year, and then we're going to do an on-stage live one with AJ. AJ Bowen will be with us, and we'll have some surprise guests,
Yes.
meaning that we're going to cohort AJ into getting good people for us.
Yeah, and plus it's good to take a
Can you
break
guys
so we
bring
can
one
come
of the
back
strippers
jazzed
on?
up. I hope so.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. Like, I want to hear her thoughts, her deep. A lot of
Pantera.
strippers are horror fans,
True
guys.
story. I was like 22 years old
Oh, dear
in
God,
Vegas.
where is
Not
this
kidding.
going?
Beautiful girl. Sit down. Start talking to her, and she starts talking about how she's writing a PhD on Lost Highway, and it was the best conversation about that movie I've
And
ever
as-
had.
as
As a
stripper.
stripper, and she said she made so much money on weekends by going to Vegas and stripping. Like she could pay her entire education by just coming out for weekends. She went to UCLA, and she was just talking about
I
Lost
was-
Highway and all these layers, and I was like, "This is the best thing ever."
Okay, there's a girl in my PhD program who is a stripper. I will say it, and she's not writing about anything to do with
Okay.
that. She's just writing
Wow.
about like it's something about like neo-realist
It's just like Kickstarter,
Italian
baby.
films,
You got to do
but-
what you got to do in this
Yeah.
world.
They kill.
And
Which is why I moonlight
nothing's
for an
easy.
eco blog.
Exactly.
I actually had a really great conversation with a stripper about Jay Anson's Amityville Horror book versus the adaptation.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
And it was pretty stellar.
So just when you walk in,
was a
guys,
great
you're
payoff
just
to it.
walking wallets. Just remember that. Walking wallets going
Yeah.
in.
Right.
It is.
There you
looking
go.
wonderful.
Well, first of all, thank you. I can't believe we're literally going into our 100th episode. So
Last question, and this can be really quick. Favorite 99 episodes before 100. Favorite episode or
Easy.
memory or guest.
I always recommend the episodes. It's funny because people like Patrick have written an article about which 10 they should start out with. For me personally, my favorites are Savage Steve Holland, episode 17. The first time we had AJ, which was genre performances. Bill Lustig, number 50.
That's
one of my
content-wise
all-time
one of the
favorites.
best of them. Yeah.
What else? Go ahead. You go.
Well, Ryan Turek came on one time early. Ryan Turek came on again recently.
All the
Adam
Ryan
Green
Turek.
and Joe Lynch came on once. What else? Geek Nation. Got
You know
my-
what? Can I just throw in my favorite killer POV episode
Yes.
was when I interviewed Brian Fuller about Hannibal on the Bloodcast.
That was your
Episode,
favorite.
That was your favorite.
I don't like that episode.
I liked the Bill Lustig. I really like the Bill.
I like the Bill
Borowski.
Lustig. I like
You
the Bill
always start
Lustig.
every episode talking about all your own stuff.
And I gotta
You
say,
spent
guys,
so long talking about your own work. Oh no, that's not your show. Sorry.
I still love our drunken debates just because
Yes.
that one was one of the most fun ones to
We need
do.
to do another one of those.
Honestly, I think 101 should be we come back and do it.
No, don't do
One
another.
drunken
No,
debates.
don't do a drunken bit. But that was like that was unlistenable. I could not.
polarizing. Some
So
people like
No,
that.
I could not listen to that.
Because it's like it's what you
Terrible.
always want parties to be before people get distracted.
We'll find a way to do it where we don't get quite as cut. But I do feel like
Well, we have
it
like
was
a
fun.
You're drunk right now.
I'm not drunk. They're not mine. I only drank 3 beers.
That's like sick. Yeah. Oh, well, it's Sex and Horror. I thought that was a great
that was
episode.
a
we
good
did.
one.
I think guest wise, Murawski was my favorite in the sense that because it had so much I wanted to learn from him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it was mostly because he didn't know what a podcast was when he got here, and I could tell he didn't think he would have anything to say.
Yeah.
And then he just talked for 3 hours.
And I gotta say, I thought Richard Stanley was a really
was
fun
interesting.
episode
Yeah.
just because it was so interesting and something that I knew absolutely nothing about. And even though that we were mostly talking about just one film, it was such a crazy backstory.
can't
It was
Wait, did that episode
fascinating.
go up?
No,
No,
it'll
it will.
be up by the
It'll
time.
be up by the time this episode airs.
Yeah, I mean,
Waiting for
but
that
I'm like
one.
you,
Lift the
Savage
veil
Steve,
there, Ryan.
because it's somebody who's not
It's
horror.
Savage
I think
Steve,
it'd be
yeah.
quite cool going forward to get some non-horror people who like horror
Yeah.
but aren't famous for horror to be, because it's a different perspective, you know?
Yeah, and we're going to try to do that to get specific guests to talk about certain topics that
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to do director's series.
Oh my God, guys!
No, but I mean,
guys, you
somebody-
can't do things we did on the
somebody
Bloodcast. I
threw a
love you
hissy
all,
fit.
but come on.
But wait, I mean, we
Come
can
on.
do it right. You know, that's the complete. Like, let's talk about
Touche.
David Lynch. You know?
Oh,
But
God.
no, the Bloodcast is good. You should, I mean, you know, anytime you want to come back, I think open door for Ryan.
Open door
is-
for Ryan.
Ryan is an
Open
open
door.
door.
Cool.
back
Let me know when you
anytime.
guys are
There's only
recording. I'm just
two
going to walk
people.
in.
Yeah.
Two people that we've said could potentially come in as
Yeah,
a
you
fourth
and David
co-host.
Scow.
You and David
You and
Scow.
Scow, yeah.
Dude, I'm serious. Line up a night where like it's me and Scow, and
I would
Yeah.
love to do that.
Oh my
That's the
God.
other thing. We want to do combos now.
Yeah.
People that we've had on before and bring
Well, we
them
did
on
have
at the same time.
not
for
the debate,
discussion.
but the
For
overrated
specific-
horror could be interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
Becca, that
nervous
means you
about
would get
that.
rid of
Yeah.
Elric.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Just you, me, and Rob.
Could happen. You never know.
I would have to do a lot less telling him to shut the fuck up. So,
But that's
yeah.
half the fun.
I've never shut the fuck up for anyone. I don't think, like I watched talk radio when I was like 13. When I saw that film, have you seen that film? Eric Bogosian
I've
just
seen
talks
that
from
You know
start
what?
to
I
end.
watched Pump Up the Volume, and that was
yeah.
pretty much the same thing.
Talk hard.
Love that movie.
Talk.
Gotcha.
I just wrote a blog on my blog
So
spot
be it.
about that movie. So
Well, I want to thank
All right.
one person particularly, because usually we're here for very long periods of time. I want to thank Parker.
we're
in
going to
the
thank
booth.
Parker, our recording engineer.
He's
Thank
recording.
you.
He listens to the same shit every week from all these shows.
Yes, thank you.
You know,
Do you want a beer,
he doesn't
Parker?
wear pants. He's,
Parker needs a beer. Parker
Yeah.
should take the bag of beer home.
But,
Huge
you know,
thanks to Parker for
Why are you
sticking
guys
with
doing
us
all
for
this
most
like
of
thank and wrap up? It's not even our 100th episode
We're
yet.
almost there.
Almost there.
Oh, we
Calm down.
Save it
forgot to
for-
mention we are retiring on 100. That will be our last episode.
We're just
Hopefully not.
kicking Elric
Acting
off.
like you're dying. You got 100 episodes. You got to
Listen,
like reflect then.
I-
Taking my 3 fans with me if you
I
kick
was,
me off.
I was
All
with
3 of you.
Elric
You know what I
last.
mean?
I was with Elric last year in Texas, and we barely survived.
Hey, you know
God,
what?
yes.
You know what? I just
Down,
want
buddy.
to say that I did one episode of the Bloodcast all by myself, and I pose this as a challenge to you three
Oh, yeah.
to actually get at this table and just record whatever is on your fucking mind for one full episode.
But
Each of
solo,
you.
Solo, yeah.
Just solo, totally solo, because
We
I
could do that
didn't
challenge.
have a guest.
Each one take a topic.
That could be an
and-
episode.
Yeah.
You know,
I literally
30
came in
minutes
here
each.
and just like I riffed. I was like, so yeah, I don't have a guest this week, so this is what we're gonna do, and this is what I'm gonna talk about. And I went for like 40 minutes straight, and at
that's
the end,
impressive.
I don't know who was in the booth, but they were like, whoo.
Wow.
I was like, hopefully that was interesting.
You know, when I was at Phoenix Comic Con last year, they wanted me to do a panel on, quote, the state of horror. It's what, like, horror journalists have to do at every Comic Con we go to. And so it was the Phoenix Comic Con state of horror. And the two people that they had me with didn't show up. It was like a producer and then some star from a new horror film, and nobody showed up. And so I show up, and they're like, oh, well, the other two people aren't here, but you'll be okay, right? And so it was like an hour-long panel, and I talked about the current state of horror for a good, like, 40 minutes before I opened it up to questions. And at the end, I was like, I can't fucking believe I just did that. And people came up and they were like, it was so fascinating. And I was like, my God, I don't even remember what I said.
I don't know if I could talk about myself for long periods of time.
It doesn't have to be you.
I didn't
No,
talk
it
about
wasn't-
myself.
None of it was about me.
could
It
talk
was
about
just about
Psycho for
like
45
what's
minutes.
going on.
But I wouldn't want to.
No, not anymore. I mean, you've done it.
Yeah.
You've done it all.
Yeah.
I could
All
talk
right.
about Eli Roth for that long.
All right. We're going way too long.
On that note,
Again, thank you, Ryan, so much.
Hey, thanks for
back.
coming back on. Let me come back on, and after all my
Appreciated it.
begging.
Yeah. No,
I appreciate
think
it.
you were
And I
right.
appreciate that you'd still look to us lower life forms now that I'm out of the journo world.
No,
Yeah, but you have a
fair.
job. That's
You,
cool.
you have a real job. We'll be
a
asking
rare
you-
commodity.
We'll be asking you for favors all the time.
Thank you for listening for 99 episodes.
Thank you so much. Really
We'll see
appreciate
you
it.
for
We'll see you in Texas
Yep.
for number 100.